Yeah.
Hey, Judy, you got your rest? All right.
Joe,
No,
hey, are you still doing tomorrow? Are you doing crossing guard?
I'm supposed to, yeah.
Where?
Altamont. I'm on the back side of Altamont. The
Uh,
back
on
side.
Piedmont or
No.
not near the entrance side, but the other side?
That total opposite side. Not where the field is, but where the
Well, it's
track is.
Track.
Where the track
That
is.
corner?
Yeah, I'm on that corner.
Is that a busy corner?
It is.
Oh, really?
Your screens are broken, so here's the PowerPoint presentation.
My screens are broken?
Yeah, turn your mic on.
My screens are broken?
Person.
It's 7:01. Let's go ahead and call the meeting to order. Rex, Joe, whatever your name is. What's his name? Rex, Joe, we're starting. Yeah, take your seat. Amanda, Winona, you ready, Winona? Yes. All right. Hey, we're starting the meeting. What? The what? Is that orange juice? Oh, I don't want that. All right, the mayor calls the meeting to order. Good evening, and welcome to the Mountain House City Council meeting for Wednesday, August 13th, 2025. What do we start with? Roll call. We start with roll call. Winona.
Councilmember Disco,
Here.
Councilmember Green,
Here.
Councilmember Harrison.
Here.
Vice Mayor Tingle.
Here.
Mayor Sue.
Here. Let's have a moment of silence. All right, could I have Vice Mayor Tingle lead the pledge?
Ready, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 4 is approval of agenda. Anybody have anything you want to change or delete? I would like to move for public comments. Anything else? If not, can I get a council member to make a motion?
I'll motion to approve.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
That was close. What do you think? Photo finish. Yeah. All right, go ahead, roll call.
Councilmember Disco,
Aye.
Councilmember Green,
Aye.
Councilmember Harrison.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Tingle.
Aye.
Mayor Sue.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous.
Next, we're going to 6.2 so that you can get to math class. Vice Mayor?
Thank you very much, Mayor Sue. I'd like to call to the podium, and she's already there, Alikia Kandraki. She is just leaving, getting ready to leave the council for the Youth Action Committee, so she'll be giving the report tonight on the status of what the Youth Action Committee has been doing for our wonderful city of Mountain House. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Tinkle. Thank you so much to the council and to the audience for listening. My name is Alekia Kondrika. I am a junior at Mountain House High School, and I am here to do the Youth Action Committee report for August 2025 for the last time as a council member. So to begin with, I will talk about Yakademics. Yakademics is Youth Action Committee's tutoring program, and it is overseen by council member Chetan Kachana. We have decided to start on August 26th, which is a Tuesday, and we are potentially may include first graders. It will be located in the first room in the library. As soon as you enter, you will see the room. So next, we have the Yak Summer Camp, which has been very successful, and the most we've seen in a day is 90 students, not including volunteers. This year, after hearing all the feedback, we are extremely grateful for all the attendees and all the members who helped out in planning. And next year, we have decided that we must strictly enforce rules for volunteers. Next, YAC will be working in coordination with the Central Valley Marathi Mandal and the Central Valley Gujarati Community Association to bring volunteers to their Utsav, Ganapati Utsav and Garba events, respectively. YAC will also be hosting its September council rotation. We have so far confirmed that 2 council members, including myself, will be rotating off. That is it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Vice Mayor?
If there's no questions, thank you very much, and thank you for the service that you've given to YAC as a council member for the last 6 to 7 months. Thank you.
All right. Now we move back to item 5, public comments. The mayor reads the following. At this time, members of the public are invited to speak on items that are within the city council's district's jurisdiction, but not listed on tonight's agenda. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. Under the Brown Act, the council cannot take action or engage in detailed discussion on any item that is not on the agenda. However, the council may briefly respond or refer the matter to staff for follow-up. Any responses to the public comments will be included in the next city manager's update and will also be posted on the city's website. The first one, CVMM, 2 M's, right? Like M&M. Come on up. Oh. Wait, is your name Sachin Corday? I don't know why I knew that.
So, good evening, the council members, mayor, vice mayor, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to come here and say some few words about this. We are celebrating the Ganesh Chaturthi on the August 30th, Saturday. The event is like a one-day event. The reason we celebrate the Ganesh Chaturthi is a birthday celebration of the Lord Ganesha. The Lord Ganesha is the god for the removal of the obstructions, the prosperity, and the wisdom. So in general, this event celebrates for 10 days in India, but here we are going to celebrate one day. It's on August 30th. The event's expected to start around 11:30, 12, and it will be run around till 8:30, but the most highlighted events will be around from 5 o'clock. So you all are invited over there. So please join and give us some kind of appreciation or any kind of support the best way you can give to us. And that's why we are here, just to invite you all guys. I dropped one of our banners, leaflet over there. So that's just for your information. Do you have anything to add?
It's a free event, and last year it was a big success. Lot of people show up. Some of you also showed up, and you see the vibe and everything there. And that is why we wanted to welcome and invite you, each one of you, to come with the family. See it is, and there are cultural events, foods, and everything is there. So once again, we invite you guys, and we would like to see you there on August 30th evening, 5 o'clock.
Yeah. So all members who are present here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Andy, question?
Yeah, question, just go.
Is the emulsion happening nearby after? Are you guys doing the emulsion locally
Oh, yeah.
after? At a home or at the event itself?
Sorry, I did not get question.
The emulsion, will you guys be doing it in the water here in town, or?
No, immersion will be in
No,
the tub,
yeah.
but it will not be disposed. It
Okay.
just will
So
play and
yeah,
will take
we
it.
are going to have a two idle, the larger one, that will be just keep as it is, and there will be a very smaller one, that we will do it in the small tub and over there.
Here at the park?
Yeah.
At 8:30? Okay,
Here in the park.
excellent.
Take the tub back.
8:30, thank you.
Yeah, it's going to be like small idle for the immersion, but there will be bigger idle too, that just, we will just take it back.
Sure.
Very good, thank you.
Cool, thank you.
Is it this event?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Starts at 5?
No, events start at 12 o'clock, but there will be a lot of activities going on from 12, other cultural activities and all. But our main highlighted events will be start from 5 o'clock. So if you guys can join that time, that will be great.
Are you Nishta?
Nishtha's dad.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, thank you. Who wants to be next? Let me call you up then. See which one I like better. John Sackett? Already? That's how efficient we are, huh?
We want to know what it is.
Yeah,
Meet at 7 o'clock.
yeah.
We know what it was.
All right, Igor Kisilev. I'm still working on my Russian. Niet. Niet. Da.
Hello, good evening, Mayor Su and Council member. I appreciate for the opportunity to speak tonight. The city recently announced the next crossing guard training program, updating information on the website and promoting it through Facebook. I'd like to thank city staff for their efforts, as we need more volunteers to serve as a crossing guards and expand coverage to additional days and intersections. In College Park, all crossing guards currently serve 1 to 2 times per week, either in the morning or afternoon. Most crossing guards have expressed that they are comfortable serving once per week, so some can serve twice. Shifts begin half an hour before the school bell, totaling about 45 minutes per shift. From what I understand, other neighborhoods follow a similar schedule. However, the city web page for the crossing guard program states that volunteers must commit to an hour in the morning and 1 hour in the afternoon each day. The same requirements is repeated in the FAQ section. Additionally, the city's Facebook advertisement mentions that crossing guards must commit to 2 hours daily. This statement required, which is not followed by any current crossing guards and is unlikely to be met by future volunteers, discourages many potential applicants. In reality, many people are willing and able to help, but just once per week. Furthermore, the city web page mentions that fingerprints are required, but does not provide instructions on how to complete this step. To encourage more volunteers, I respectfully request that the city update the web page and Facebook posts to clarify that crossing guards are only required to serve a minimum of 45 minutes per week. Either add the fingerprint instructions to the page or specify that they will be provided after sign-up. This change would make the program more accessible and transparent, helping recruit volunteers we needed. Thank you for your time and considerations.
Any brief responses for Igor? Steve?
We'll follow up.
We'll follow up with Igor.
Yes.
I agree, we need more crossing guards. You want to say something? Igor, to Igor?
Igor,
Igor.
thank you for bringing that to our attention, because I do know that it is not a major time restraint. So I think it would be a good idea to, encourage people, and that they don't have to do it every day. It's at their leisure, but we do need more and more crossing guards. Thank you for your service, because you keep us on task.
Did you have a question, comment?
Just for point of clarification, so the request is to update the FAQ to require 45 minutes versus the, could you reiterate?
So instead of saying that 45 minutes of your time, because a lot of times it doesn't require that much time. So when I do crossing guard, maximum 30 minutes, but I only can serve on Tuesdays and Thursday mornings. So my requirement for the whole week really is only an hour. So it's a limited amount of time. It's less time than what's required. So I think what Igor wants is to make that more clear so people can realize if you can only do 30 minutes, that's great, but we need you for those 30 minutes.
Cool, thank you.
So update, Steve and Amanda, you guys will follow up? Anybody else? No? Thank you, Igor. Can't believe it's the second year of the program. Let's keep it going. Project Green, the name is, is it Sharam or Sharam? Sharam Kumar. My eyes are bad. Come on up. Project Green, I've heard of it.
Hello, everybody. My name is Shivam Kumar Das, and I'm a junior at Mountain House High School right now, and I'm the founder of Project Green.
Hello, my name is Anirudh Jayaraman. I'm also a junior at Mountain House High School, and I'm the co-founder of Project Green.
Our goal with Project Green is to keep the streets of Mountain House clean and to make sure they're clean for the time going on. And with our club, what we do is bi-weekly, almost weekly cleanups where we go out on the streets of Mountain House and we pick up trash and we just dispose of it.
The main thing is we all know Mountain House is a rapidly growing city, and with that also comes a lot more litter and unpicked like animal waste, for example, all around the streets. And this can cause like a bunch of like unwanted diseases or even pest problems for people, which we definitely do not want. So we wanted to address that with our club.
To help support our case, we went to the Mountain House group in Facebook, and we saw many people complaining that there's always trash, or even people who walk their dogs or have pets. Like Mr. Matisco, you have a dog, as we all know. And we see that like some people, unfortunately, they don't pick up their dog waste remains, and they just have them on random people's yards. And we want to help solve this case, because like no one wants unwanted diseases or unwanted unpicked up waste.
So what we did was we searched all throughout Mountain House and all 7 of the villages, and we were disappointed to find that 6 out of the 7 villages had a shockingly low number of publicly available trash cans. And most of those trash cans were only found at those village parks, which is great because it keeps the public parks clean, which is good. But anywhere else, you could see a lot of trash and even like dog waste everywhere. The only exception I would say is probably Bethany, because as we all know, the Bethany Creek has those 2 like parallel paths, and there's a lot of trash cans spaced on there. But even in other parts of Bethany, there's still lots of litter and unpicked waste.
So what we want to propose is that the city of Mountain House get more trash cans throughout the city. Because as my co-founder Ani said, that right now they're only in the parks. And most people, they don't only walk their dogs in the parks, they walk their dogs throughout all the villages. And as you walk through the villages, you see lots of trash. And we want to solve this by adding more trash cans. We understand that our city is a planned city, so we don't want to ruin the look of our city with just having trash cans out every block. Maybe like 2 or 3 blocks, so just so that we have like an availability of like trash cans anywhere we go.
Yeah, thank you for your time, and if you have any questions, we'd be more than happy to answer.
Yeah, don't go yet. Wait, you want to respond real fast?
No, it's not a response. I just have a comment. Thank you for taking interest that our city does need to be clean. The Youth Action Committee, I don't know if you heard what they do, but for the last 10 years at least, twice a year, that group, that's one of as part of their mission is to help keep the city clean. Normally, we pick up things and take it to a disposable dump where the construction is going on, getting pre-permission. But my ask is that if you are actively doing this, you can solicit the help of the Youth Action Committee, but that's a charge that they have been doing for some time, and I'm glad there's still older people, too, that want to partner with it. But it's a collaborative effort between everybody, so why don't you get in touch with the Youth Action Committee to see how we can help you, because that's one of the things that we charter on. And thank you for taking it further.
Yeah, we were planning on doing that, and I don't know if you remember, but I've actually spoken with you back in June about this, and you had mentioned the same thing. So we'll keep in touch. As of right now, we are also trying to establish our club in the high school so we get more volunteers to help us in these events.
Councilmember,
I just want to commend these gentlemen because I bumped into them in College Park last week, and they did a fantastic job collecting, was it 8 or 10 bags that you guys deposited?
It was a total of 30 bags.
30 bags, okay. So, yeah, see, these guys were out. I said, you guys got to come in and, you know, let us know what you're doing because I'm sure there's a collaboration, and I'm glad to know that Youth Action Committee is willing to work with you guys. So continue on, thank you, and we'll let staff respond with the request for trash cans. I know it's been discussed before. The issue is they're unsightly, and it doesn't look good for selling houses, so that's why it's been frowned upon, in my understanding. So, but staff will follow up, absolutely.
All right, thank you.
Actually, it wasn't just that it was unsightly. It was that the every trash can that we put out is $1,000, give or take. And so if you want to put out 60 trash cans, that's 60,000. But now 60 trash cans need to be picked up every week. So that's staff time, and that ended up to be a lot of money. Right, we voted on, I mean, we talked about this previously. I did talk to one of you guys, right, on Instagram. If you are gonna put stuff in dumpsters, though, make sure it's either your dumpster or you have permission to put in. Yeah. And West Valley is usually very generous. I mean, they're not gonna give you a dumpster every single week, but you know, if you do this once a month, I'm sure they'll donate something and you know, that you can use. And I think it's a great idea. There's always trash in town, and yeah, you can work with the Youth Action Committee and come up with, you know, some times to.
Yes, so you are free to collaborate with the Youth Action Committee, you know, if it's, you know, we've walked over these trails before, and just a plug for the Youth Action Committee, you said you picked up about how many bags of trash?
30 bags.
30 bags. We had 62 bags. And we've collaborated with West Valley, and they're able to take it away, but everything is getting in touch with them because, as the mayor said, and I'm not going to repeat what he said, it's costly.
Yeah.
But with any planned activity, you can make it happen.
Yeah.
All right, we'll stay in touch.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, guys. And that's the last of the public comments. Huh? I didn't get a thing, but, oh, yeah. Yeah. I'll just pretend I got something from Aria. Coming up. It's not that one. Wait, turn the mic on. It's not that one. He didn't do one.
Hello, Mayor Sue, Vice Mayor Tingle, and all the council members. My name is Aryan Agarwal, and today I wanted to take a few minutes to talk to you about my recently done Boy Scout Eagle project, which is a first aid kit and awareness drive. So you guys can check through your packets while I'm talking. It'll help you stay in contact. So first of all, I realized that there's a problem around Mountain House. Many Mountain House residents, they lack the proper knowledge of first aid treatments and procedures, and due to this, sometimes for even the smallest first aid injuries, they might need to go to the hospital. And so my goal was, through my Eagle project, to teach residents effective and quick first aid skills to ensure that they're prepared at home. So first of all, my motivation behind this was actually an incident that happened a few years ago. 3 years ago, my mom, she injured her ankle, and me and my family didn't really know what to do. So we ended up needing to take her to the hospital. And so this inspired me to ensure that everyone in Mountain House would be properly educated about first aid, so this wouldn't happen to anyone else. And that led to my Eagle project. So for planning, I ideated and planned the entire first aid awareness and kit drive. So I drafted curriculum plans for the workshop and the potential locations. And then I did some budgeting with materials, so I planned the costs of contents for each first aid kit and calculated any associated costs. I also determined the number of kits to be made and prepared supplies and created flyers to be sent out. Now for fundraising, my goal was to raise $600 to fully fund my project. And to do this, I hosted a week-long public speaking workshop. And so there I taught many public speaking skills to 2 different age groups. And in the end, I successfully raised $600, and I also received supply donations from Mayor Sue. So on the next page is a few of the first aid kit components. You guys can review that if you want. So now for execution, before the event, I had to first of all book the main station room at the Mountain House Fire Station and visit the station a few days earlier to plan layout and also finalize logistics. And on the day of the event, I arrived 2 hours early for setup with volunteers. We did a dry run and we were fully ready before the start of the event. So then on the next slide or next page, there's a few pictures of before the event and some of the stations. Then, during the event, I conducted pre-event checks, created a sign-in sheet for volunteers and guests, and also, as a little bit of a last-minute idea, I set up a chair with balloons outside to attract passerby. So the next slide is a little bit of the setup, where the entrance is and all the different stations. And then there's a few pictures during the event. Lastly, after the event, I cleaned up all the first aid demonstration stations, provided food for volunteers as a thank you, and I also prepared 6 extra first aid kits for firefighters and training attendees. And there's pictures. In the end, 75 plus kits were made at the event, 100 plus attendees showed up, 5 stations were run during the event, a news source came to cover the event, and more than 12 volunteers participated. Thank you.
All right. Wait, stay up there. Council Member Green.
I am just so amazed because I feel like you're an adult in a little kid's body. And I keep looking like, where is that sound coming from? Because I know it couldn't be coming out of him. So, 13, did you hear him talk? Did you hear, I mean, your presentation was better than a lot of adults. So I just want to commend you on that. I can understand why you teach a debate class. So good job, young man.
Thank you.
Just want to say, proud of you.
Thank you very much.
Disco?
And I believe you had something for staff today?
Yes, so I actually have a few more first aid kits prepared for staff, so each staff gets one. And then the leftovers will be given, I think, to Mr. Disco.
Where's Roger tonight? All right. Well, you can give it to anybody at the staff table. They'll be happy to help you distribute. Laura, help. Yeah, you can give it to them. Thank you, sir.
All right. Great job.
I concur, an excellent presentation, young man.
All right, we're moving on to item 6.1. Where's my free book? Recognition of Anya Ada for the writing and publication of her first book, Robo Buddy. Robo Buddy. Come on up. All right, turn the mic on for her. Turn. All right. I get an autographed copy, right, Anya? Anya's a tennis player too, right? Still taking classes? You want her to say anything up there? Yeah. Turn the mic on for her. Right there.
First of all, I'd like to thank all the City Council members for giving me this recognition. This recognition means a lot to me and motivates me to write more stories just like this. Thank you so much.
All right. Actually, I have a certificate to read. Are you gonna?
I have a question.
You have a question? Go ahead.
Yeah. What was your inspiration for writing your book?
I had many ideas in mind of like what to write, but I've always had an interest for robotics, coding, and stuff like that. And I always wondered, what will the future be like? So I came up with this idea, Robo Buddy, so that other kids can know my perspective of the future.
Excellent, thank you.
All right, let me read the certificate to you, and then we'll meet you up front for photo op. In recognition of your outstanding accomplishment in writing and publishing your first book, Robo Buddy, your creativity, dedication, and talent demonstrate that great accomplishments are possible at any age. The Mountain House City Council proudly recognizes your achievement and looks forward to seeing the future successes your journey as an author and innovator will bring. Presented on this 13th day of August 2025 signed by the mayor. All right, come on up. Meet over here. You want to come up too? Are you related to? I want an autograph copy of your wrist, sign your name here. Here, put. Switch to your left, that way.
Keep going, keep going. Oh, there you go.
All right, great job. Another free buck. Anybody else? Come on, come on. Is that your mom? Come on up, come to the middle here. I want a good picture, right? Oscar, you want to come up? Are you mind taking a photo with Brandon? Yeah, take a picture for her. Yeah, come on in. You know her? You know her? All right. All right, she just signed it though. Oh, she signed it? Where did, oh, there it is. All right, thank you. I'm gonna read it tonight. All right, keep writing, okay? Yeah. Right. Next time. Take care, Anya. All right, what's next on the agenda? 6.3, Lambertville Unified School District update. Mayor calls on former president Stephanie Wallace Olson.
Good evening, Mayor Sue, council members, Mr. Pinkerton. It's always a pleasure to join you at these meetings and report about Lambertville Unified School District. As you're probably aware, last Tuesday, school started for the 25-26 school year. And reports are from all sides that it was a pretty smooth first day of school, and parents, faculty, staff, students all seemed happy to be going back to school. And it was actually probably one of the cooler first days of school we've had in years. So that was kind of a nice change. And I know that you all, this body loves to have the numbers. And unfortunately, the first few weeks of school, everything's fluctuating. So I don't have a lot of numbers for you, although I did get one number that might be of interest. The high school opened up the 15 classroom building addition to accommodate students. And the good news is that about 135 additional students have been added to our numbers from last year. So it's not as probably big as people thought it was, and the classroom building accommodates 350 to 400 more spaces. So that's nice that we're not stretched to the limits. And last week we also recognized a lot of our staff. Like every beginning of the school year, we recognize staff for their 5, 10, 15, 20, and they're on certain years of service. And the newsworthy part of that for you is to note that those numbers get bigger every year of people we're recognizing. And that shows stability and shows that staff come here and they stay here and they like it here. And that's really a positive thing for everyone in this community. And finally, fall sports are in full swing at the middle schools and at the high school. So there's going to be lots of fun coming up. There's a sport for every one of you to go and enjoy. Girls tennis, girls golf, water polo for boys and girls, flag football for girls, boys tackle football, cross country. I hope I'm not missing anything. That will be in the winter, but yeah, volleyball at all the sites. And so, we're excited about all those opportunities for our students. And that concludes my report.
Thank you so much. Anybody have any questions or comments? No? Thank you, trustee.
Thank you.
Wallace Olson. All right, next up is item 7, which are our city council consent items. Are there any items that you want to pull from the consent calendar on the left, on the right? No? If we don't have any questions, then somebody make a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the consent calendar as stated.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Disco?
Aye.
Councilmember Green?
Yes.
Councilmember Harrison?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Tingle?
Aye.
Mayor Sue?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous.
All right, now we move on to item 8.1, strategic plan update, fiscal years 2025-26 through 26-27. We're going to receive and file the strategic plan progress update for the fiscal year. Steve Pinkerton?
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Back on February 19th, if you recall, we had one of our, in fact, I was just adding it up, over since you've become a city, if you include the 4 training sessions, you've now had 27 council meetings, 4 of these informational meetings, 3 conferences with training, and 2 retreats. You have 1 for team building and 1 related to the strategic plan. So you're up almost 40 times you've met as a group since the beginning of incorporation. And after meeting on February 19th and going over your priorities for the year, we brought back your feedback and you adopted your strategic plan on April 9th, which again, for the public is really the 2-year roadmap of what the strategic priorities are, both at the staff level for day-to-day work and the key work plan priorities of the city council. And as part of that strategic plan, one of the action items was to come back and do check-ins on a quarterly basis. So next slide. And so as you remember, we have 9 highlighted areas for the city council. They're on the next 2 slides. I apologize. We only tried to plug those in about 20 times today. I don't know what happened, but we have IT coming next week. So just a reminder, your 9 key areas are incorporation, transition, and we've of course had a tremendous amount of work done over the last year to do this transition from a district to a city, with the big thing, the municipal code and all the policies that have been adopted over the last year. And then one of the other big priorities is to get our general plan, our land use constitution underway. And we've right now got a community workshop tentatively planned for September. On the development side, we've begun work on the community rec center and aquatic center, another high council priority, along with beginning the preliminary work on the economic development strategy. On public safety, as you know, back end of June, we opened Fire Station 2. We also had you adopt our traffic safety enhancement plan, and we've been periodically updating and improving the quality of our security camera network and working with the sheriff to get better data from them. So those are parts of your immediate priorities we're working on. Transportation, our 4th of 9 items. We've got our transit needs assessment underway. We're working on advocacy work to see if we can get some more federal and state dollars, both for transportation and others. As far as Valley Link, that's all being reassessed right now. Next slide, and you can see then we have 5 more areas here that we have as council priorities. On Wickland Cut, on water, we've got the Wickland Cut project where we're trying to get federal funding, and we did execute a memorandum of understanding with BBID to work on that. We're also talking to the San Joaquin, South San Joaquin Irrigation District about our emergency water. You know, we want both long-term water and we need short-term water over the long run. On fiscal sustainability, we're now working on our utility rate review and working on our asset management plan. Communications and transparency, as you know, you approved a number of communication strategies and policies earlier this year, and we'll be reporting to you back some more on GoGov next meeting. And the website is going to be going over a big transformation this fall, and we continue to try to be more active in social media to make sure that we get information out there. On council and staff culture, as I mentioned, we've had a number of meetings and trainings and sessions. We're looking to get some additional sessions set up, potentially on Rosenberg's Rule of Order, having regular one-on-one meetings between council members and the city manager, and continue to ensure that we bring forward to you your highest strategic plan priorities. On our 9th area, which is amenities and quality of life, we've got our ongoing partnerships both with the recreational facilities and now with public safety when it comes to Lambersville Unified, and we've updated a number of our ordinances for our parks and for code enforcement, and plan to have more of that information coming to you at a future meeting. So we just wanted to let you know that while we've got a lot of things in the strategic plan, those work plan priorities that are the highest priority of the City Council are our top focus. In fact, when you go through the document that's attached to your report, you can see that even before you get into the rest of the document, at the very beginning of the document is the council priorities and the status of those. And so this is our first of 8 quarterly reports that you'll be getting over the next 2 years. And so happy to take any comments. Otherwise, just wanted to make sure we did this publicly, not just as a consent item.
Question?
I have a question, comment.
Question, comment?
Under discussion, progress highlights, item B, development. Would it be possible to just give a brief overview of synopsis, what's going on with economic development strategy and affordable housing policies? How are we really coming along on that?
On the affordable housing policy, we've been talking to the county about the housing element because, and we'll be giving you a lot more information about this soon, but the responsibility for the housing element is going from a county responsibility to a city responsibility, but there's a very laborious process that is required with the state when it comes to your housing element. The county is just in the process of wrapping up their housing element, and as soon as the county document is approved by the state, the next step in the process is going to be transferring those portions of the housing element that relate to Mountain House over to Mountain House. And we'll be reporting back to you at that time. But we're hoping within the next month that we can begin that process. We've already had to put a lot of work into researching how you even do that transfer, because the housing laws have changed significantly since the last city incorporations, because as you know, there hasn't been any other incorporations for 14 years. And just a reminder, we are still the youngest city in the state. So just a lot of items related to making sure we do it consistent with the law, and in some cases, the law is kind of silent on it. So we're working through all those legal mechanics on housing.
Okay, the economic development strategy.
And on the economic development strategy, we're putting together we're beginning to do some marketing, and joining the San Joaquin Partnership, but soon we'll be coming back to you with kind of the outline for the actual strategy itself.
Okay, thank you. And when you get to that point, will you let the council know early on when these start, so we'll be attuned to it and able to attend or give feedback as necessary?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
If there are no more questions, I'm going to open up public hearing. The public is invited to make comments on this item. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes per person. Do we have any? No? All right, I'm going to close public comments and request council member to make a motion.
Receive and file.
Disco?
I'll make a motion to approve 8.1.
Who wants a second?
I'll second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Disco?
Aye.
Councilmember Green?
Aye.
Councilmember Harrison?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Tingle?
Aye.
Mayor Sue?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous.
Thank you. 8.2, adopt a resolution to approve budget appropriation and amendment. Number 1, to agreement A-2324-44 with CSG Consultants, Inc. Jody, Deputy City Manager.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and City Council members. Jody Almasi, Deputy City Manager. And tonight we have for you essentially 2 items for approval. The first is that we are requesting an appropriation in the amount of $620,000. This is to the Builders Fund. It's for building and safety division services provided under an existing agreement with CSG Consultants. And this is for fiscal year 24-25 that we just closed out. The second is to authorize the city manager to execute amendment number 1 in the amount of $1.2 million for a total contract amount of $5.44 million. All right, so a little bit of background on our existing agreement. Back in May of 2024, as we were approaching cityhood, we awarded a multi-year agreement with CSG Consultants. The total amount was $4.24 million, and the agreement expires in June of 2029. At that time, as we were gearing up for cityhood, similar to our last council meeting, a different contract, we used our best historical data provided by the county to plan and project what we would have for demand and services. So where does that lead us to? To give a little context, in fiscal year 23-24, for single-family homes, we issued 230 permits. All right, so looking at our numbers as we just closed out our last fiscal year, that number has over doubled. Over 460 single-family home permits were issued. Now, keep in mind, when we're just talking about these permits, that's not the only permits that we issue with our building division team. We had a total of 918 permits issued. That includes over-the-counter permits. For instance, if someone's wanting to build a swimming pool, do solar on their roof, maybe it's just a remodel, it could be HVAC upgrades, a new electrical panel, you name it, but that's a lot of work, over 900 permits this last fiscal year. A little more context into some other work that was unexpected, really, is 2 items. The first is Amarillo Model Water Efficient Landscape Ordinance reviews. The second, a biggie, is street naming and street addressing. The original arrangement was that the county would continue that service, and as we, again, started our cityhood process, it was backed off to then December of 2024, and then it was backed off further. So come end of July, we were essentially taking on this new role. And again, it's a critical role. So a little bit more, what is MWELO? So really it speaks to drought-tolerant, water-efficient landscape design. So again, very time-sensitive for our team to take on. And then again, street naming and street addressing, it's essentially what that is. But again, very important and very, time-intensive, coordinating with utilities, postal service, emergency services. And again, these are items that are not just, like to have or, would, shoulda, coulda, woulda. These are critical. We need these for development, and we don't want to impede development. We want to make sure things progress. All right, so budget context. All right, so what are we doing essentially? What are we asking for? We're asking for this appropriation of funds. It's not a new cost. We're asking to align our funding and the accounts, essentially move this fund into a different bucket. And again, this is for services already performed under the existing contract for fiscal year 24-25. We've collected over $2 million to cover these costs. Really, this is an administrative exercise. The way government accounting works, you plan for expenditures, and I call it buckets, in one bucket. Revenue is accounted for in another bucket, and you don't commingle. That's where City Council comes into play. We have to authorize the allocation of funds from one to the other. Again, this is just to close out the fiscal year in good standing, as we've now processed all our invoices and we have a good accounting of actual numbers. A little bit more about the services that CSG provides for our team. We talked a little bit about the permitting. There's other work that they do as well. We'll categorize it as general fund work. A lot of it was critical and essential for us as we were setting up our team, our process, our workflows, starting new forms, applications, getting our online portal set up. How do we go about capturing all the street naming and addressing, you name it, that's kind of characterized under general services. The other side is developer-funded services. This would be something that is project-specific, but not tied to any one single permit. And in this case, it could be a referral from another team within our community development department. And again, this is directly reimbursed through the developer and recovered through our existing agreements. And a little bit about the revenue model on this slide deck. And if you're following along, I think it is, oh, I lost count of the slides because I know you're following the printed version. The revenue model is for our existing contract that we have a split. It's 65-35. So every permit that crosses our counter. And want to point out that our city team, our accounting team, collects the revenue. It's not consultants at all. They don't touch money. They don't touch checks. 65% goes to, I would say, is allocated to CSG. 35% is allocated to the city. All right, so keeping it moving here. Revenue and expenses. This table, it's really to show the building permit revenue against the agreement expenses with CSG. That is in the columns 2 and 3. The last 3 columns show, again, I call it the different buckets or revenue streams that go towards the expenses. So again, over $2 million collected. CSG's contract is $1.66 million in our last fiscal year. In general funds, we have about $124,000. Permit fees, about $1.31 million. And developer payments total just over $220,000. And then we'll just keep going. All right, so our budget summary request. This table is showing how the budget was applied and why we're requesting $620,000 in the appropriation. So again, the $620,000 is not a new cost. It's already been collected through building permit revenue. We do have in there the original appropriation of $840,000. That was our estimate as we started that budget year, what we said we should have in that account. Again, best estimate based on our projections at the time. Administratively, our accounting team was able to allocate $236,000 from other revenue within that existing account. And so that's where we have the balance of $620,000 that we need to move. The other item we did not discuss in great detail is we're requesting to increase the agreement ceiling by $1.2 million. And again, this is based on our projected workload that we see coming down. We'll continue to monitor it. We hear that there might be a slowdown, but we're not necessarily seeing that here in Mountain House at least. All right, that leads us to the recommendation again, and I'm not gonna read this again, but we're looking for your approval tonight.
Any council questions?
I have a question.
Tingle.
Could you go back to the previous slide? Just for the, actually for the shortfall. Where does that revenue come from to pay for the shortfall? Where do we get, where does revenue come from to pay the increases that we're experiencing, that we will be experiencing for more building permits and permits coming in?
It's not necessarily a shortfall. It's, again, I don't want to characterize it as a shortfall because that revenue is sitting in a separate account. So we've collected over $2 million in revenue through our permit issuance. It's just sitting in a different account.
There's just not, there wasn't as many expenditures budgeted and there wasn't as many revenues budgeted. So it's adjusting to reflect the higher scope of activity.
And that's what I'm was trying to get to, is that we planned it, let's say, for 450, and we're up to I think you said 900. And I'm wondering for that shortfall, how do we get, where does the money come from? Because we planned or estimated for a lesser amount. How do we?
I don't think I understand your question.
There's more revenue and more expenditures.
There's not a real shortfall. So we initially thought we would collect $1 million and spend $1 million, but instead we collected $2 million and spent $2 million.
So it's even.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, it's a
Is that what you're
wash.
saying it's even?
It's a wash. But the budget, the original contract said $1 million, so that's why they need to come back and add that to the budget.
And see, what the.
Contract, I mean.
The difficult part that I was having is that we planned for 450, we planned for X and we got more.
The
So to
demand
me,
was
that's
much
just
more.
more money that you have to, that we'd have to account for because we're doing more permits, we're out there doing more work. And I was wondering, where does that additional money come through? But as long as it's a wash,
It's more than a wash.
okay, it's more than a wash.
We're more
What
in
I'm
the
really,
green.
the question is that there will be no shortfall.
There is no shortfall. This is purely an accounting exercise.
Okay, it's just going from one pot to the next.
Well, you underestimated initially how much revenue we would get. We ended up getting more revenue,
Much more revenue.
yeah. Okay, Green.
So basically clarification, so the ask is for us to be able to take the money out of this account and put it into this account.
That's correct.
That's the total ask.
That is the ask, and to also increase the contract ceiling by 1.2 million.
To make up for the money that wasn't here, but now we're putting it over there.
Essentially.
And that's the shortfall to me.
Okay, so
Okay, any other questions? Just go.
Yeah, so just to clarify, the overspending here based on the initial projection is strictly from the services that we applied to all of our planning and permits, and we're getting all that money back from the developers and have even doubled what we expected. And so now we're pulling from the available funds, but we don't really need to pull from those funds because the money's still coming back from the permits. Is that right?
We are 100% cost recoverable in this case, and we'll have additional funds beyond what is in CSG's contract.
And there's no guarantee we're going to need the additional overage of 1.2 in the coming years unless we continue to see this type of growth, right?
That's correct. It's entirely flexible. Nothing's guaranteed.
And the 1.2 will only be used if it's going to break even again from those permits issued, right? So it's going to be a floating tax, or it's going to be a floating bucket available for use, so you don't have to come back and ask for this again.
That's the intention. That's
Cool.
the thought, but we'll continue to monitor the contract and development activity.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes, another question?
but you will bring it back if that, so if we increase the debt ceiling and we need to, not debt, I'm sorry, budget,
The contract.
contract, thank
Yeah.
you. When you increase the contract, are you increasing it so the money will already be in this account? Or will you have to come back to ask for it to be moved over again?
With the increase of the agreement ceiling, keep in mind also that this is a multi-year contract. And so with each fiscal year, we budget the expenditures accordingly. So in the case of last fiscal year, we estimated $840,000. For the current fiscal year we are in, it's higher given what we know.
Because you see now that it needs to be more.
Yes.
Got it, got it.
Any other board, council questions? No? Now I open up for a public hearing. Public's invited to make comments on this item. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes. None? All right. Bring it back to the council. Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve 8.2.
Harrison, make the motion.
I'll second.
By
I'll second.
Green. Roll call.
Councilmember Disco?
Aye.
Councilmember Green?
Aye.
Councilmember Harrison?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Tingle?
Aye.
Mayor Sue?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous.
Great. Let's move on to 8.3, approval of agreement with Joe Kriskovich. Joe's not here, is he? For Human Resources and Risk Management Services. Sarah Ragsdale.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. Yes, this recommendation is to approve an agreement with Joe Kriskovich for HR and risk management consulting services for an amount not to exceed $968,517. It covers the period that will end June 30, 2030. Am I driving this, or? Huh? Okay, that's better. You're better. I can't do both. Well, maybe I could, but anyway. So I want to just start out talking about how important HR and risk management functions are to the city. As you know, the HR is tasked with recruiting and retaining employees, and making sure we comply with all the state and federal rules, and working with our labor unions. Risk management helps to identify, assess, and mitigate threats to the city, which include employment and general liability issues. So it's critical that the city have a comprehensive human resource policies and procedures in place, and risk management as well, to protect the city from potential issues. And not doing so could be very costly to the city. So how do we meet this need? Both HR and risk management tasks are in the proposal. Envision a person that would have a high level of expertise and technical knowledge, and could provide those policies and procedures that we need. Currently, we don't have that staff that has that bandwidth or expertise to provide those services. We have one person in HR, that's our HR manager, and we don't have anyone specifically assigned to work in risk management. So why do we use contractors? Really, the benefits include flexibility and scalability. We can respond quickly to any particular project that might come up, and we can increase or decrease their services as needed for the tasks at hand. Those contractors have specialized skills that they can employ immediately upon starting their services with us. And there is a cost savings of having the contractors, as opposed to hiring staff that we would make a commitment to by hiring them with their base salaries and benefits. So if we look at contracting versus hiring employees, staff is recommending that we continue contracting like we're doing now versus hiring more staff. And in this particular case, the cost of hiring more employees would exceed the cost of the agreement at hand, including the one person we have on staff. And the person who has the knowledge, skills, and abilities to start performing immediately. And while employees would need to be recruited, hired, and trained, which takes time. And they would really not have the focus that would be needed for the tasks that we need. When the city was considering becoming incorporated, we had to complete a fiscal analysis that LAFCO approved, and it was intended or envisioned in that plan that we would need to continue with the contracting that we do now, that we were doing as a district, because that would make this sustainable. Hiring more employees at this time would not be fiscally sustainable. And on the next slide, it shows we have a wide range of services that we currently contract for. And I would see that we would probably do this for the future, for a while. It's going to be a while before we bring landscaping in-house or police and fire services. It's not economically feasible at this time. So this is just another example of a specialized service that we would request to be used to help with this task at hand. We did prepare a request for proposals, and there was a variety of tasks in both areas that we mentioned, and there's quite a few, so I didn't want to list all of them, but it mentioned things like, you know, having the expertise to create documents, policies and procedures, provide training, and audit our coverage for our assets, make sure that we are in compliance with laws and regulations, and also that we remain a valued member of our risk insurance authority. Because if you can't show that you have the expertise to protect the city's assets, you create a risk for that authority as well. We sent out RFPs to 7 companies. One additional company replied. And the next page shows the vendors that it was sent to, and the other one that replied. And I can tell you, these are all highly reputable companies. We've worked some with Sloan, Sakai, Young. I talked to some of these companies when we put out the bid, and just they wanted clarification, or I wanted to just see if they were interested. But they wanted clarification on what was going to be required, and as you can see, most did decline to respond. ADP did respond, but they only bid on the HR consulting, which would not serve the purposes at hand here. So Joe Kriskovich submitted the only responsive bid. I believe his bid price is competitive. We know that he's worked with us. He's done some work on other risk management before we got into our new authority. He's done negotiations for us, and he has become familiar with our staff, with our employment policies, our MOUs, and he has a lot of experience with our risk authority. So, you know, he's ready, he's prepared to start working right away. He has the background, the expertise, and the ability to start. So the next table shows the proposal for services, how it pans out over 5 years, ending June 30, 2030. And the average for the first 3 years is about $260,000. And then he's proposing that in the last couple years, the need for services would decline, and maybe he would not even need to be doing anything with us. This is a 5-year contract with options to extend. That is customary for our consulting contracts. We do all of those like that, and they all have a 60-day termination clause. So if the work is not being performed, if it's not to the standards we need, or we don't think there's enough left for this person to do, then we can terminate the contract. This slide here, the compensation versus contracted costs. This is a comparison of the cities of Patterson and Lathrop with Mountain House. It shows how many FTEs are assigned to HR, and typically risk management is part of the HR department. It shows the compensation paid to the FTEs assigned. And then on the last line for Mountain House, I include the one FTE salary and that salary and benefits for our one employee assigned to the task, plus the first year's cost on the proposed contract. And you can see that that cost is about half of the city of Lathrop. And the per capita cost is considerably less as well. So again, the staff recommendation is that the council approve this agreement with Joe Kriskovich for human resources and risk management services. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Vice Mayor Tingle.
Thank you, Ms. Ragsdale, for the report. I have a question, comment. Out of 8 vendors, Mr. Christofich was the only one, worked with him, but he's the only one that responded. If he's the only one responded, how did we determine that it was competitive?
Because I've worked with other vendors for these, and even if they don't do both services, I know the costs that they charge. So I'm somewhat familiar with what the going rate is, and we're getting a pretty good deal.
Okay, so since there was no, even though there were no responses, we had a good feeling that this was a competitive rate?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Councilmember Green.
So, you know, I have a lot of problems with this contract. I pulled this from last time we have had an opportunity to sit down and discuss it. And I understand your side. I still have a lot of, I don't agree with this contract. I still have a lot of questions. And I think for me, we never had a chance to even see any of this information before it was put on the consent calendar. So I don't know about other council members, but for me, it was news to me that all of a sudden we're gonna have a risk manager / HR person with a contract of $1 million. And he's already our risk manager. He already has a contract with us to do risk. So now the contract will be HR, it will be added to the contract, HR services. And so, I mean, there's just, it's unfortunate because I do think that there is a need. However, I disagree with the contractor part. And we've discussed it, so it's not new. I'm just saying it out loud. But with a 5-year contract, with all of his money being on the first 3 years, with the option of 2 additional years after the 5-year contract, with approval just on the city manager's signature, I have a problem with that. I think there's a great difference between contracting with police and fire as opposed to having a staffed HR risks person. I think that is a position that is long-term. What I explained to you is I felt like after 3 years and he created these different policies and procedures for HR. Then we go out and hire an actual HR director, and they come in and say, I don't like any of these policy or procedures. Let's get rid of it. I feel like that's a waste of 3 years and a waste of money. So I'm very, I don't like this contract. And I think that I don't know, there should be some other options. I don't like that he was the only one that got a bid in. You know, I don't know how that works, but you know, I did some research. I actually did a lot of research, shared it with you, shared it with city manager, with these positions and stuff. I think that we can do better than this contract right here. I think $1 million and you're getting most of it in your first 3 years. And then we're dropping down because we won't need them. Why won't we need them in year 3 or year 4? If we need them in year 1 or 2, we would still need someone in that position because the risks aren't gonna change or stop in year 4 and 5. So I don't see how that would drop. And so having an opportunity to discuss it further and to get a little more insight, I I think it would just kind of be better. That's my opinion. But again, we are a council of 5, but I did not like how the contract, but I do see the need. I just feel like we can do better with how we fill it.
Mr. Mayor, do you want me to respond, or,
If you want to respond.
I mean, I might, because we're clarifying, right? Okay, so, first of all, you know, I really believe in this, the need for this and the price. I believe it's fair. I had to sell it to the city manager. The city manager is not going to, it's on me to make sure that the tasks that I'm expecting are being prepared and done right. I expect that we will have policies and procedures, just like our financial management policies, that are well-versed, well cemented in best practices. They will have to go through our attorney to make sure they're correct. But it'll be on me to make sure that the products are being produced. And I would expect that if in a couple of years, and I agree, in maybe 3 years, maybe 4, we'll be hiring, more people. But I would be surprised if a new HR director would not agree with these, because the intent is they will be industry standards. They'll be, they'll be well thought out. I would not expect anyone to come in and just say, I'm not doing any of that. I just don't see that. And as far as like the years after the first 3 years, I expect a lot of work in the first 3 years, because this is such a critical mission for us to get these in place. And if those get done in the first 3 years, we're not going to use year 4 and 5. If they, things keep coming up, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to look away. If they keep coming up, if we have new issues, and you're right, we will have risk, it will continue. But if you put a good framework, a good groundwork down, you're getting ready to deal with whatever might come up. And I know everything, there's always new things that come up. But if you get the groundwork done, if you get that really good foundation, that means a lot. And that's what I expect out of the first 3 years, is to come to that. Then when we hire other staff, they would come in and use those materials to start out and be successful. That saves them from the time of having to do that, when they would need to concentrate on their job.
Yeah, I believe that you know what you're talking about. That I'm not saying you don't. I've talked to you in depth. I just don't, I cannot put my head around year 1, 2, 3, setting policies, and then 4, 5, 6, 10, 20. It's not making sense. We're going to use him for 3 years to set all these policies, but then we're going to bring someone else in and say, hey, this is your position, but follow his policies. I feel like, and there's no guarantee that a hired employee will not leave in 3 years. I'm not saying that, but I feel like staff is more invested long-term when they are an actual employee as opposed to a contractor. Contractors are great, and yes, they save us money, and we do need to use them in certain instances. But I don't think in all instances we need to have contractors. Some instances, we do need to bring in staff. And at $300,000 a year with salary and benefits, I feel like we can bring in staff. And and then again, I'm not for a 5-year contract with an additional 2-year option. That's 7 years.
It doesn't have to be 7 years, it's just an option, and it's typical of what we do on all our consulting contracts. But it doesn't mean we'll use any years or any money that's not required. We don't do that.
Just a reminder, each year at budget time, it's up to the council to actually allocate those dollars. All we're getting is a locked-in cost, just like we are with any of our other contractors, But you, as the city council, have to make that ultimate judgment each year. You are not committing to these dollars right now. You're committing to no more than these dollars under this contract. And that's why we do these typically on a 5-year basis, because as you've seen on a lot of other contracts, it ends up being a cost savings the longer we can lock in a cost. So it's not really specific to this. It's really specific to our standard contract language. But if there's concern with that, we can certainly talk about it. But again,
I
you're
think
really
the
committing to the
confusion,
next
Steve, is
60
coming
days.
in where it's a contract versus an employee. And I'm saying I would much prefer to hire an employee, someone that I feel would have a more vested interest and more longevity with Mountain House. I see benefits to have contractors, just not in this position. So it's not a case of I'm against contractors. I'm absolutely not. We're talking about for this particular position, I would love to see a position made where someone would have a vested interest in staying in Mountain House and not, what if someone comes up in 2 years and offers him a better contract than we've given him? As a contractor, it would benefit him to take that new contract. He's not beholden to us. So, and neither is an employee. However, I think having an actual employee in this position is better than having a contractor. And I don't agree with the contract terms. And to you, Mayor.
Let me move on to some other questions. Tingle, and then.
I have, Ms. Ragsdale, you could probably answer this quickly. For the $968,000 over a 5-year period, if there was an employee hired, could you tell me what the loaded labor rate would be? What would that look like for a 5-year period with a permanent employee with the loaded benefits and everything? Vacations, loaded rates, what's the dollar amount?
Are you saying that they would, instead
If you had a regular, if we had a regular
hired a-
employee,
$350 a year, right, Sarah? So 175.
I would say, well, it'll go up over time, of course, but, because,
oh, okay, I want to make this real simple.
okay.
Just like you've come up with 968,517 for a 5-year period, if we had a employee, a full-time permanent employee with benefits, vacation, the loaded labor rate, what would that be paid out in a 5-year period?
Okay, I know that can't be right. I have 1750. Oh, you know what?
$1,750,000.
Yeah, 1,750,000. I knew I messed that up. Hey, I want to have my calculator with me.
So about $800,000, almost double, but in any case, it would be at least $100,000 a year more to bring on this sort of thing. You have to remember, particularly with risk, one of the reasons I think you see so few people bidding on these jobs is there's very few people specialized in this kind of work of doing both HR and risk, but you're looking at if you have an employee, you have about a 1.7 benefit factor, HR director, to compete for an HR director in this area, which is equivalent, that would probably be, Tracy's pays $240 a year with benefits, that's $350,000 to $400,000 a year, depending on what medical they take. And so that's really twofold here. We're trying to save at least $100,000 to $200,000 a year in the short run and get the specific expertise that we need. And that is what we're proposing to the council. It's fully up to the council to do this, but our concern is if you're a risk manager for a private company, let's say, they don't get paid as much, but that's because a risk manager for a private company doesn't have 7 square miles of sidewalks and pump stations. They don't have police activities in the middle of the night. They don't have parks and rec events with thousands of people. There's a reason why the way we do risk is so different. The private insurance market kicks cities out of, about 1985 was the last time cities were even able to have risk insurance. which is why cities have now had to go into these risk pools so that they could even have risk insurance. And one of the ways that the risk pools make sure we mitigate our costs is that we have to have a very robust safety and risk program within the city. And if you fail at that, and there's a city, a very big city about 20 miles up the road, you get kicked out of that risk management authority and you go into the risk management authority where it's all people who've been kicked out of other risk management authorities, and you're looking at another $500,000 to multi-million dollars a year just in your premiums. And so of all the things we do here as a city, there is, we as Sarah and I here and John as the fiduciaries, there's nothing we are more concerned about than our liabilities. And so we feel like it's very critical to have that expertise from day one. I mean, we had a lot of, we're very lucky we got into this risk management authority. I can tell you under our old risk management authority where we were part of a special district group, they did not have the expertise necessary to even defend us on the simplest sidewalk trip and falls and things of that nature. So you're talking, of all the things we do, you look at the risk from managing all of the city assets and make sure that you're not potentially liable, along with the fact that we have all represented employees, which you almost never have in the private sector these days. And so in both those areas, it's a very specific skill set that you have to have. And you're not going to find somebody for anything other than top dollar to do these types of things. And if you look at what they're paying in Tracy, Lathrop, Brentwood, Oakley, Pleasanton, Livermore, Dublin, the going rate's going to be $350,000 to $400,000 a year, fully loaded with those benefits. And it's frustrating that benefit and all these costs have gone up so much, but it's the reality that we're dealing with. And you've made it very clear to us that you want our staff to be paid appropriately. And so we're working very hard to make sure we pay equivalent to our surrounding cities, and those are the costs that we're incurring. I think also we've had real challenges in areas like planning director, building official. Most of our high-level executive positions, it's very difficult to recruit those positions, and that's why we're looking at a consultant. We've had positions, some of these high-level positions where it's taken years to find even one or two candidates. We're in a very expensive place for people to live. People coming from the valley, it's even hard to get here on a work day. So we have to factor all these things in, and we just felt like, given that we have no margin for error when it comes to risk.
Question for
And
you,
I'm
Steve.
incredibly disappointed we didn't get more bids, but I'll shut up.
Wait,
No, I just, go ahead.
Actually,
Go ahead.
what?
I was wanting to thank him for answering my question. The simple thing is that a contractor is less than a regular employee. Thank you.
This goes next, and then Harrison, and then back to Green.
So I mean, Steve, you can't really compare somebody in a private sector because they get stock options, all these other things. So whatever their salary is, albeit lower. But even if we were to say, what, Joe's a 30-year experience in this field?
About 40,
40?
30 to 40, yeah.
So we're talking minimum 175,000. So even if we came at Joe with a salary offer of 175,000 and we were somehow able to work a compensation package down to 75,000, that's still 1.25. Now, here's the caveat of using a contractor employee. I've worked in tech for 6 figures as a contractor as for an employee. When I'm a contractor, I'm watching my butt every decision I make because I'm an at-will employee who can get canned. When you're a city employee, that's a completely different ballgame. You're protected by so many different things as a union employee that you really got to have gross negligence to get canned. Like, you really have to hit the bed and completely screw it, completely fail at your job, right, to get fired. There's multiple steps where as a contractor, if you really tank, we can boot you tomorrow, right, because you've failed your contract. So at the end of the day, at a minimum, we're saving $250,000 by using a contractor. And that's not for somebody at Joe's level. That would probably be saving minimum of this contract amount, right? For somebody with 40 years experience. So I just want to put that out there. You can't compare private sector, 150,000. We're talking about somebody at 175,000 to 225,000 salary a year. And Joe's coming in at 185,000
Well, the first year is 250,000.
250 on the first couple of years.
But if you divide it by 5, it's what?
Right. Yeah, it's about 190.
190. So, and that's without compensation and benefits. So for me, it's a no-brainer to use a contractor and somebody we can terminate. But if we terminate somebody like this and we can't find a replacement, and another contractor is not even willing to bid on this, and finding somebody with 20, 30, 40 years like Joe, it's impossible right now, right? At what we have available to spend. I just want to put that out. Like, that's the reality of what we're dealing with here. It's not like, yeah, it is $1 million. Yeah, it is an extension available. We don't have to express that extension if he's not performing. And at that point, we could come back, and we're probably going to have to budget for somebody of his caliber, $2 million for 5 years. That's the, you can ask you can ask ChatGPT, Gemini. I just did it all. Like, you can go and look yourself and search what this actually costs. This is a realistic number. I'm talking to everybody on the council.
I'm moving on to Councilman Harrison.
Thank you, Mayor. I too had a pretty long meeting with Sarah and also with our city manager over this. I didn't agree with the 5-year. I thought it should have been a 3-year, which I thought maybe was something that could be done. One of the things that really set me back on was one of the questions I had asked with the city manager was about training our HR person now. And he said, yes, there would be training. I said, is he going to be working from home too? Or is he going to be here majority of the time? And the response was, he'll be here a lot, but he'll also be at home. I don't like that. Okay, I meant, if we're going to hire a contractor, I want him here. I want him teaching our HR person, so at some point, they could assume that position and have those knowledge, skills, and ability to carry out those functions. The other thing I would ask is if, when the board does vote on this, is that I would personally, I would like a, what do you call it? I'd like to be informed every 6 months, like a update on his performance of what he's accomplished. And, have we set out those parameters to, okay, we expect you to get this done in this amount of time. So I would personally want to get updated by the city manager as to the progress every 6 months on that. That's, if it can't, then I'm not for it.
I can tell you that you'll be informed in one way, because as these policies are developed and signed off by the city manager, they'll come to you for approval. So you'll see the type of work that's been done. And then in our city manager update every month, we talk about, the types of trainings that have been done. And I'm sure we could incorporate that routinely, so you'd have an idea every month of what's going on.
Councilman Member Green.
Okay, I'm going to keep this short. He already contracts with us for risk. So one of my questions was, if he's already a risk manager, what is he adding to risk management, right? So he already has a risk management contract with us. Councilmember Harrison brought it up about training, being able to train our HR director or HR person now to move up to that manager director position and possibly bring in people under her as needed once she gets that training. That's something that we had kind of discussed. So I understand clearly the difference between contracting and salary and pricing and the benefits and not the benefits of having a contractor with an employee. That's not my point. My point is, if we're already having him do risk management, I wanted to know what other benefit would we be bringing to the city, because all of this was new last meeting, had never heard about this. So being able to discuss it is great, but I still stand on what I said. However, if there could be an amendment to the contract where it could be maybe a 3-year and possibly a 2-year extension, with the idea that you are here to train someone to be able to be in that position. I can't see bringing someone in and then having to start all over again in 3 to 5 years. I just can't see that. To me, that's a waste of money, contractor or employee.
I agree with that, and, you know, I fully expect that Mr. Kriskovich would be, you know, performing tasks that I've outlined and the city manager signed off on. But there would be expectations, there would be deliverables, there would be timelines, there would be expectations, and, you know, we may be done in 3 years, and like the city manager said, you know, especially if we can't recommend even to have him work year 4 and 5, we won't, because we don't spend money that we don't need to. It's a lot of money, I have to tell you, I agree with that. But,
And then you should clarify, he's not under contract right now, he's just on a
No,
month
he's
to
not.
month, right?
And he's not our risk manager. He was doing risk management work, and the board appointed him as a delegate to the board of directors of our risk authority. I'm the alternate. So if Joe wasn't working here, I'd be on that board. Well, and I am, I guess technically I am. But if it wasn't for Joe, I'd be doing that, which I can. But it's just he has such, he's networked with these people. He's understands. He was very helpful with us in getting an insurance program for our employees. We didn't fully expect that when we became incorporated, we'd lose that payroll service, but we did. And so that opened up some work that Joe did that was really focused on the impacts of incorporation. Now we're trying to look forward. We're trying to, let's get busy, let's lay everything, get a good groundwork, and go forward.
Yeah, to clarify, you approved the contract for risk management through last June with Mr. Kriskovich, and then we just have him under my contract authority until this contract is approved. But he doesn't have any additional this is the only compensation he would be receiving.
I thought that's why the difference was between the $1 million and the 968.
That
It's
was for
because
these
of the-
2 months. That was just,
Right. So we contract him month to month for risk management.
Up until he meets the city, he could do that for about 3 or 4 months max, and then it would exceed my budget authority. So because we weren't able to bring this back by July 1, we just put him on a monthly contract. But the minute this is approved, that goes away and he's on the long-term contract.
However, we did contract him for risk management services for 2 months so far, since
Yes.
June.
Well, you contracted him all of last year and you approved that contract. And then we just have that contract on a month-to-month basis until this decision is made.
So basically, he has worked for us before. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
He's been working in the risk management arena for us already.
Correct.
It's not, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know,
Okay, sorry.
So to make it seem like, you know, he hasn't been doing this work already, he has, and I understand that. That's where the difference is in the cost, where we take from $1 million and then the money we've already paid and it comes to the 968
Right.
if we add it to the contract that we're trying to give him, that you guys want to give him now. So he has worked for us.
Right, and this particular slide here, just to be transparent and to be, so we could compare, you know, year over year, it's just, I think, more forthcoming, more transparent of what's going on.
All right, Sarah.
Yes.
Do we have any other clarification questions, Vice Mayor?
No,
We're not doing discussion right now.
No.
Clarification question?
One more.
Is a question?
Yep. What's the termination clause if we terminate early? What's the penalty that we absorb if we cancel this tomorrow or in a year?
60 days.
60 days. So if that's all, if we give 60 days notice, we're off the hook for the whole contract?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Whose phone is that? Please turn off your phones or at least silence them. All right, if there are no more questions, let me go to public comments. The public is invited to make comments on this item. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes per person. No public comments? All right, back to discussion. Anybody want to give your last thoughts without repeating the same thing? Harrison?
Yeah, I propose if the board would agree to a 3-year with the 2-year extension, with the caveat that he is here versus working at home, and that we get updated every 6 months on his progress.
Before you propose any motions, I want to take any other final discussions. Green?
I would just like to add that after the 3-year contract, that it be brought back to the city council.
Tingle?
Okay, without being redundant, I agree with Councilman Harrison and that the person, that Joe have the better benefit of being here and training and rather than being at home, that the value add to the team. And my other only comment too is that after any price negotiations at the end of that term, not be negotiated by the city manager, but be brought back to the board for discussion and not just automatically approved. I think that was the last paragraph, the scope of work.
So a 3-year contract with no automatic extension, okay?
I don't know if everybody knows this, but by locking in a 5 to 7 year, you actually guarantee the price. By doing 3 years and renegotiating, we could be potentially paying more in 3 years.
That particular part of it, we haven't got to that yet. However, I'm okay, since my question was answered, we're actually saving money by a contractor. I like for that contractor, as Councilman Harrison said, to bring us better benefit by training our staff and being here. And the other thing that I want to bring in is that after it's time to negotiate again, that it be brought to the board and not at the discretion of the city manager. That was one of the caveats, the scope of work and price to be negotiated by the city manager.
You know, the city council doesn't normally do that for other contracts. We're not the ones negotiating. We're in this, you have to really, I mean, back up and remember our jobs as the city council. It's not to do the day-to-day work.
Mm-hmm. And I do realize that, but what I'm saying is that the way that I'm reading and understanding that is that the city manager would have his discretion, that he could extend the contract at his discretion.
Yeah, so remember that.
But it comes back to us before there's any extension.
Yeah, no, whether it's a 3-year or 7-year or 25 years, essentially he's day-to-day. Contracts, he's day-to-day up to 60 days. Anytime we feel like he's not doing the work, whether it's the first year of the contract, the second year, the third year, anytime we can just say goodbye, Joe.
Oh, but that's not what I was referring to. At the end of this, it speaks that the city manager could, and I'd like for it to come back to us before that.
But yeah, when he does that, if we're not happy with what Joe's doing, we override that.
I realize that we're the ones that do.
We don't even have to put in that caveat. We have that authority already. Anytime we're not happy with the contractor, we don't need him to come, bring it back in 3 years. And it doesn't have to be 3 years. We could, anytime in the next 3 to 5 to 7, whatever we approve, anytime we're not happy with him, we get rid of him. We don't have to wait for 3 years.
Right, I do realize the 60 days, I did hear
So
that.
then really there's no need to put in that caveat because we already have power above that.
Okay.
And the 3-year, what was it, is the proposal 5-year plus 2 years?
Yes.
Again, it doesn't really matter if it's 3 or 5, because any time in the period from 0 to 7 years, we can end the contract at any time. So 5 years, the benefit is that it locks in the price for
And I'm in
longer.
agreement with that.
Yeah.
Five
By
years, it locks in that price.
renegotiating in 3 years, you open yourself to paying more.
And that's the part I'm not for. Keep it at the 5 years, and after 5 years, we still would come back to us, but keep it at the 5 years for a lock-in.
So back to Harrison's, I mean, 3 and 5, the only difference is we lock in the price. Bringing him back earlier means that if we find that Joe's actually very valuable, guess what the price is gonna be? Higher. So this locks us in, but we have complete control of when to end it.
Okay, so I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
However, based on conversation that I had with Sarah, the idea is to bring him in to train the HR person we have now. So that person will be able to step into that role. So I'm not thinking that we need to continue with a contractor 5-7 years.
Well, that's why it's a lot less, yeah.
Let me finish. What I'm saying is that based on our conversation, I took away that the object is to bring him in, to bring us up to where we should be with policies and procedures and train our HR person to be able to step into that role. So I'm not thinking we're gonna need him year 4 and year 5 because you said by year 3, we should be up to where we need to be. And to be able to hire a permanent staff person under the staff that the HR manager that we have now, because she will be trained at this point and sufficient in doing the job that we are contracting Joe to do right now. So when I'm saying 3 years, it's based on our conversation that at the end of 3 years, we should not need him any longer.
We should not. However, what if we do? Now we don't have to go and renegotiate again. If we don't need him in 3 years, guess how much of the money we need to use? 0.
I get that.
But, well, then why not lock it in so that we don't have to go back and renegotiate? In 3 years, you find that Joe's actually very valuable and we still need him. Now he's gonna say, well, I want this much more money. So now we're gonna look back 3 years later, 3 years back and say, we could have locked it in for 7 years, but now we go back and we're spending more money for the exact same person that we're paying for.
Well, I think it's locked in for 5, locked in for 5.
Yeah.
At which point, the city manager doesn't have permission to extend the contract. The recommendation
It's really
reads,
for 5, yeah.
the agreement also provides for 2-year extensions at the city's, us, discretion for a scope of work and price to be negotiated by the city manager, like he's done for us today. So at no point does Steve have sole authority. It's still going to be brought back to us like every other single contract extension, or when staff recommends it's time to terminate a Brightview extension and bring in another vendor. We do this every day. And I don't see what the difference between a 3 and 5 year makes, aside from the extra that we're going to be paying later. But my only request to staff is, can we have more than one extra meeting of buffer before these contracts start? I don't know how, since Manny was on the board, I don't know how many times I've heard the entire panel here say, can we please get $1 million contracts presented to us a little ahead of 0 hour? I mean, I don't know how many times I've heard it. So now I'm gonna say it again. Because we should be having this discussion 6, 8 weeks ago, 3, 4 meetings ago. And here we are at 0 hour again with either no risk manager and no HR consultant to train our amazing, but also green to this big of an operation that's constantly growing. So it's not like this blindsided us and we said, hey, yesterday we decided we needed this. You guys have known this is coming, so why are we getting blindsided with this? It's not fair.
I've said that before, maybe they'll hear you.
I just said every single person on this panel has probably said it before. And now I'm gonna say it, and I just said it again. So please, can we get a little more lead time? That's all I'm asking. In the future, $1 million contracts, 2, 3, 5 years? Can we please get it more than a meeting buffer? Because even if we say, let's push this back so we can have more discussion, if we don't come up with a resolution and make a decision on this at the next meeting on the 27th, we're at huge risk. And we don't have a plan B. We don't even have another competitive salary from a full-time employee or another contractor who even replied to this RFP. So please, again, present this to the council a little sooner than 0 hour or 1 buffer. That's all I ask, because these kind of conversations shouldn't be had in public. We should already be well-versed. We should have a chance to talk about this, and it should be presented in a better, timely fashion. Thank you.
Well, to be fair, we didn't necessarily know that there would be this much discussion. I felt like this was pretty slam dunk. Because we need the staff is telling us we need a risk manager, we need an HR director type of person. We have a contractor who's willing to do this for 30%, 40% less than an employee. And we actually have a person. To find an employee, you actually have to go out and look for one. You may not find one. So we need this person. They found a person. We got it for a good price. I don't know why there was this much discussion.
It's this much discussion because we didn't know about it. So I didn't know we needed a risk management person, HR/thing. That was, those type of positions, come on, Andy, the positions are not, we didn't know about it.
Every
I'm
city
sorry,
has-
Mayor
every
Sue.
city has,
Every
yeah.
city might have one, but, you know, these positions and stuff, we see other positions, but, you know, it is, it's like a big, whoa, what is this? $1 million for what? So that's the part of the discussion that, you know, we've been saying, I think everybody has been saying, is that you do feel blindsided. I mean, Mayor Sue might understand because, you know, we need this position, but this was brand new to me last meeting. Didn't hear anything about, just read in my agenda packet, like I'm supposed to, that contract, and it just didn't sit right.
So, but ultimately, whether we should have brought this 6 months ago or not, it's here, and we need to make a decision.
Right. Mayor,
Yeah.
if I could, when this was brought up, we aired last month, okay?
We were.
We aired. And what we did, what was wrong, was when it was pulled, okay, we're supposed to follow the Rosenberg rule, which is when an item, a consent item is pulled, okay, all the other items get approved, and then it goes back for discussion. But that didn't happen. What's said was, you said, oh, you know what, Councilman Green, you talk to Sarah and work out the issues you have with it. So we should have, and as a board, yeah, you know what, you're the mayor, you set the agenda, you chair the meetings, but I would ask my fellow board, council members that when we have an item like this, we discuss it then. We don't wait, because now we've wasted another month discussing this when we could have discussed it last month like we should have. So that's what I'm just asking, if going forward.
I mean, we could have asked, you or anybody else on the council could have asked to discuss it. I mean, just because I wanted to move it off doesn't mean that you couldn't have asked to say, let's discuss this now. I mean,
We did. It was asked, could we discuss it now? And I think the comment was there were a lot of questions that needed to be filled.
Resolved first. Yeah, but
But
that's some of the
it was
things-
asked, because that is proper protocol.
Right.
That when you pull something, discuss it right then. But at that time, in memory serving me correctly, because I'm good on numbers, there were lots of questions, 50 questions that needed to be probably answered, a lot of questions, so it couldn't be discussed then. And I was all right with it, so people can collect and get their thoughts together.
Well,
But no, we didn't follow protocol. And that's discuss it right then.
Yeah, and I would just ask, it seems like our meetings are like, okay, hey, we're on a time limit, let's get done, I want to be done with this meeting by 9 o'clock or whatever. You know, when I was elected to this position by the folks that elected me, I owe it to them. So whether I got to be here till 10 o'clock, now granted, in the past, in the early 2000s or late 2000s, we had people on the board that just went till 1 o'clock in the morning because they just like to talk and hear themselves talk. I don't see this board doing it.
It was until 12:30, it wasn't
Well,
1 o'clock.
Yeah, but my thing is, you know what, we owe it to the public. So you know what, if it goes longer, but we can't keep rushing this and, hello, hey, city manager, you got 3 minutes to get this done. No, we're here. We signed up for this. We got voted in. We owe it to,
Okay,
the
but
folks to do it,
I will respond to that, though. You're right. If it takes time to discuss an item, I agree we should spend the time. But I also don't want to hear the same council member say the same same things over and over again. That's just redundant and waste of time, too. Be succinct and move forward with your comment. I don't need to hear the same thing 12 times. That's what I mean. I do want to be efficient with these meetings. All these people sitting here, they don't need to hear the same thing 12 times. So yeah, let's discuss it. But if somebody has a question when you get your packet, the first thing we're supposed to do is talk to staff about, see if they can clarify some of those questions. That didn't happen last month. Do we let her clarify all her questions with all of our time when she could have done that before the meeting? So that's the part, then you ended up talking to him afterwards. That's why we pushed it.
And I agree with that.
Normally, when we pull something from just consent, yeah, we discuss it. But if somebody has a lot of questions on an item and, they didn't do it before the meeting, well, do you want to spend the entire meeting talking about this one item?
And I agree that this item, I agree with Councilmember Harrison. However, I do believe that this particular item needed more time and more clarification. I think we met for like 3 hours.
Right, so did you want to do that 3 hours during this meeting?
Going on. But with that being said, Mayor, it didn't allow for, when you do have the discussion on the dais, it does allow for other council members to hear out reasoning and to listen to wisdom. And I think that's how it works and how we come to these understanding and agreements. And if we don't do that, I can just leave here with my thoughts like, no, but, because we have an opportunity to hear each other and to listen to sound, wisdom, words, understanding, whatever, then we have to have that opportunity too.
Yeah,
So-
I don't disagree that we need to discuss it
Yeah.
as a whole council, but if somebody is new to a topic and has a lot of questions, get those, out of your 50 questions, maybe she answers 48 of them, and we only need to hear about discuss the two.
Well, she answered 52 of my questions and I only had 50.
Mr. Mayor? So on that note, council, can the city council give a directive to staff when these types of items are pulled, that a summary or a recap be shared with the rest of the council, like this 52-question, 3-hour process that happened with staff, so that the rest of council, is that a Brown Act violation if
No,
a staff employee has a conversation on an item that gets pulled, so that for Confluence, we're all in the same data and knowledge base as the now enlightened council member who spends the time to do that?
I think the appropriate way for that to come back would be in a staff report for the public meeting, rather than having an interim report come back to you. So I think in that particular scenario, 52 questions, I don't think you should get a memo back with the answers to all the 52 questions. I think it should just come back in the form of a staff report. I don't think that's a Brown Act violation. I just don't think that would be the right way to handle it. Steve, I don't know if you agree.
Well, I think that doesn't make sense to me.
If I have individual conversations with each of you before the meeting, I just have to make sure I'm just giving you the facts and not sharing with you other conversations. That's the
But that's what I mean, if
careful part.
there's relevant questions being asked, right, by one council member, I feel like for Confluence that all of us should be on the same page of what maybe staff forgot to inform on the report that would get asked here in a council meeting like it did tonight.
I agree with that.
And we do try to make sure that you get that information.
But I mean, what percentage of those 52 questions made it into this current staff report?
None.
Well,
I
let's
think
ask
that-
Rana.
I think they were. We did significantly update the staff report, and then Monday, I had individual meetings where I shared a lot of information and shared some of it with you individually today as well.
But going back to what John said,
And we
it
have
could,
had
it
this
could be
subject
in the staff
discussed,
report,
and
right?
we
Not
have-
verbatim, but
Right, and we did review this, I think, with all of you in the past. We had this contract last year come in both November and in February. So it's not the first time we've talked about this subject. And we did go over it as part of the items back at those times as well.
but
yeah,
we were
it's
never
always
given,
a fun-
we were never given a ballpark.
Pardon?
This is the first time we've seen, or I'm sorry, this is the second time we've seen a ballpark figure of what this is going to cost, right? That when you're mentioning those, you didn't have a $968
Right.
line item
It was a
budget.
one-year contract, not a five-year contract, but it was for those, it was for most of the same services, not some of the HR, but all the risk management contracting items were here in November and in February for an extension of that initial contract and for an increase in the cost because of the extension of the contract. So it has
And
come
what's,
back.
what's the higher level reason that we're adding the human resources contracting when we have a human resources director?
Because we have a one-person HR department, and so we need that person's having to do a wide variety of work, so it's to provide additional staffing support and training.
And that takes somebody with 40 years of experience,
Yes,
realistically?
yes,
Okay.
yes. For what think about it, the biggest, and we talked about
I mean, what's
this
our
way
head
too
count?
long.
What's our head count right now for this one person to manage HR? What's
Well,
our
you've
head
got-
count today?
We have 50 staff plus contractors, so that's a lot. If you look, again, most of the cities our size, as far as size of city, they all have more employees. They may have twice as many employees, or twice as many total employees in the city, but they have 4 times the HR staff. So we're just trying to be efficient in how we provide support to our HR staff.
And we've
and
seen
our
in
HR
closed session what goes on with the HR. I understand.
Mhm.
All right, thank you.
All right, any other discussion before we make a motion or something? You want to say something else?
Yes,
Go ahead.
I just did, yes.
Well, we're staying here till midnight to get all your words out tonight. If you guys want less efficient meetings, we can be here all night. Anything else? So somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
All right.
No, I changed my mind.
I guess you're not getting your HR risk manager.
I'll make a motion, considering we have one meeting to make this happen, to go, so we can either butt heads all here tonight, or we can push forward and continue on with this meeting now that we've completely exhausted every possible feeling and question we have on this item. So I will make a motion to approve 8.3 in the amount of $968,517 for a 5-year term, with the agreement that provides a 2-year extension at the city council's discretion for a scope of the work and price to be negotiated at the city manager, under the stipulation that we do see a majority of these hours completed here at Town Hall. And if that needs to be brought back for discussion at the next meeting, so be it. But that's what I would like to
second
propose.
that, exactly as it was stated.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Disco?
Aye.
Councilmember Green?
I'm abstaining.
I'm sorry. Abstaining. Councilmember Harrison?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Tingle?
Aye.
Mayor Sue?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-1.
At this point,
401, I'm sorry, 401, 1 abstain.
I would like to move item 9.4 up, since some of the people here are here for item 9.4. Am I correct? Any objections, council members? No. 9.4. All right. Mayor calls Doug Louis. You took a shot at me.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We have a discussion topic on neighborhood parks.
9.4.
Staff recommends.
Just look at your screen. Spin your old chair. Go ahead, Doug.
Staff is requesting City Council review cost estimates, select a restroom option, and direct staff to proceed with procurement, design, and installation planning of park restrooms for 4 of our oldest neighborhood parks. I'm going to cover background, examine the types of toilets available, cost of each permanent design and cost of leased options, cost of annual maintenance, procurement analysis, and most importantly, break-even point, leasing versus purchasing. Background, we have heavy use at Wicklin, Bethany, Altamont, and Cuesta due to organized sports, and that's occurred since day one up through 2010. The reason being that we don't have toilets in our parks, restrooms in our parks, is the fact that they were intended for passive use for local residents that surround the parks. They would go use the park. They would then, if they had to use the restroom, go home. And what happened is we do have sports facilities at these parks, and so organized parks occurred, and the convenience of having toilets in the parks was apparent. So visiting teams had to use facilities as well. We've covered this topic several times over the past years. I think I've been a part of every one of those. And tonight we bring it back through a request. I think back in February, we've had some community members have interest in that, and we brought it back tonight. I've covered quite a few different styles of toilets, so I kind of jumped right in and studied these. We have our typical centralized water treatment type toilet we have all in our homes. We've got chemical toilets, which are the common ones we find in our parks, the portable units. Septic systems, usually find those out in the country with cabins and whatnot. Composting toilets, I won't get into that. It'll give you nightmares tonight. And incinerating toilets, which anything with fire is probably not a good idea in our restrooms. We first started off with our portable toilets, and we've gone over this several times on enclosing them to make it look nicer out there. It was an idea where we would place a pad, portable toilet on it, surrounded by certain structures. This did not alleviate the odor issue if it existed, but it did make it look nicer on those ideas. Council suggested luxury toilets or an upgrade to the portable units, and these are pretty common now. This is a one-door portable unit that is pulled somewhat like a trailer, parked onto a pad with an ADA ramp. This is your common vault toilet. A vault toilet is a looking glass downwards. So if you can imagine, this is this permanent structure used chemically with a vault down below. It's pumped out when full. These are similar, but these have a flush option, which I thought were pretty cool. Collected pricing on this. This appears like a regular plumbed unit, but also has a vault, but you do have pumping fees with this as well. These are the typical units you see at our parks, but we do have an economy model up above there in the photo. The unit above or below is the two-door unit you find in our parks. The price is for the one-door unit, similar to the one above. If you can imagine it with one door, looks similar to that. I've looked at janitorial maintenance. This looks excessive, but in reality, this cost here only results in maybe, I think it's $60 per day, every day to clean these toilets, with approximately, I think, about $15 in soap and paper goods. So that's what that amounts to. And also pumping cost. We need pumping cost on the purchasing of vault toilets, but also on the lease of them. The lease comes with a pumping service once a week, but they will require additional pumps during the summer due to capacities. I think a vault toilet actually can handle up to 150 uses per week. I did a cost outlay. This is a cumulative annual maintenance cost, and what this shows is your first column is the cost to install, and year 1 of maintenance through years 5, and this shows the total cost over the 5 years. And you can see how the cost amounts pretty rapidly on the leased units. So the leased units include the lease, the pumping cost, and the janitorial cost. Of course, the permanent units don't have a lease, so that's why you see that they cost less per year to maintain. This is a 20-year spread at 5-year increments, and these include also the initial installation costs, but also are added up over the course in 5-year increments. You can see the difference as we proceed through year 20. Prices are pretty even, with exception of the mobile luxury unit, of course. But you can see that even the plumbed units, which are very expensive to install, would probably exceed or actually be lower in cost to maintain and have over the course of this time. Another thing that we got to realize also is these luxury units and even the portable units, even if purchased, have to be replaced in a short amount of time, probably in 12 to 15 years, I would say. So in year 15, that luxury unit would have to be repurchased again. The permanent units would last probably 25, 30 years. Of course, they would have, I'm sure, layers of paint, roofing issues that would have to be maintained, but nothing that's too expensive. This here is a table on the initial capital cost and the rental cost and operating costs. So this kind of shows kind of a layout of what it's all about. This visual shows you that the luxury toilet, of course, is heading off to the heavens there, so that's obviously not a very good selection there. The red line is the standard plumbed restroom, and you can see the trajectory is actually going downwards. So you can see that over the course of 20, 25 years is probably the best solution. And there's pros and cons, of course. Portable units are going to be less expensive to start off with. They're not as nice, obviously. You've got pumping cost. You don't need sewer connections. You don't need, you can avoid permits and pretty much almost everything. However, they do have pumping costs, which add up. They have leasing costs. As opposed to the building a permanent structure, it avoids all that. You do have permits you have to, deal with. You need some engineering to build them. That's been included in these costs. And the lifespan is much longer than a portable unit. So following council direction, we will select an engineering firm, come back for approval on that contract, pending the option, of course, selected. Procurement of the restroom facility and ancillary project costs and contracts. And so again, we're requesting City Council review cost estimates, select restroom options, and direct staff to proceed with procurement design and installation planning.
This is a discussion item. Anybody have questions? Just go.
$60 a day is based on the 4 units for cleaning?
That's individual units?
So $60 a day per unit?
Yes.
So you provided examples of 4 on all but the standard plumbed restroom, is that correct?
Yes.
On everything else, okay.
Right, everything's added in.
So reality is if we do anything but the standard plumbed toilet, which you're saying a single unit to build ground up is going to be 1.4?
Approximately, yes.
For 1? Oh, for 4. Why did I see it said single where everything else said 4 on the 5th slide? Sorry. Could you recall slide? Slide 11.
Yeah, so the single door plumb
Total units, one toilet
1.28,
unit.
I believe, was the cost to build.
Total projected
1.38
cost, 4 single-door units, and then you have a total for units, 1 toilet units. So it's
Yeah, I
not,
think what you're referring to
you
is
just
the
pull
table
slide-
that
slide 11?
included the maintenance in the first year. So that's the.
1.28 is the
Yeah,
maintenance in the first year?
cumulative cost.
Can you just go to slide 11, please?
Here we go. Thank you.
And then jump back to slide 10, just to compare.
It's,
So it's 4 single-door units, I get it.
Yeah,
There's 4 different parks we're going to provide these at, right?
yes, yeah.
So now you jump to the next slide, and then you say 1 toilet unit. So that tells me that 1.28 is for 1 toilet unit on slide 11.
1 toilet unit at 4 sites.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
it's at 4 sites.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, I apologize for that.
Okay. Yeah, I just, the lack of continuity is what threw me off, so thank you.
Yeah, everything is based on 4.
So with a 20-year run, there's a $220,000 difference in the long haul of building something that's a flush vault toilet, and that includes the pumping fees and everything and the cleaning associated with supplies versus building standard plumb restroom toilets like we see as a single stall, 1/2 of what's at Central Park, or we don't have any parks that have a single unit, right?
That's correct, yeah.
Because we have, what is it, two at Bethany Creek Trail,
Yeah,
2 at Central Park, 2 at Hanson?
Cordes Hanson and Creek
Cordes.
Park in
Okay.
Central Community Park, yes.
So our upfront on,
To the full cost.
our upfront would be a little higher on replicating what we have now, or we go with something that would be built faster without the connections and dig-ups involved for, I mean, you'd still have to run water to it, right? But you wouldn't have to do the sewage line in tear up a park to do it?
The vault toilets, chemical toilets don't require plumbing, but they will require electrical connections.
What about freshwater for the flush?
Vault toilets don't flush.
No. I would never recommend a vault toilet because I go camping way too many times to
Oh, no,
know
I
that I
know
will
you're
be the
familiar.
first to throw up the picket if you try to build one next to my house in Bethany.
Right, and I know that's not a very good option.
But the
due to
flush
that.
vault toilet doesn't operate in the same duct way that a vault toilet does it?
So, okay, I'll explain.
One has fresh
So
running
there-
water
there's
in,
the
one
green-
is a drop tank.
Yeah, the green model type vault toilet does have a flushing option, and it has actually a cistern that holds water. That needs to be filled up upon the service day. And when you do flush, it flushes with water, which I like because you don't see anything.
But where does it store?
It's in a big tank down below.
How vaulted is it compared to a standard camping vaulted toilet that
It's-
emits
They're
horrible smells?
designed to handle, from what I've learned, 150 uses per week. So any more than that, you might need an extra pump, which I did add into the figures. So, especially during the summer months.
Or
So
flag football months?
Exactly, yeah. So, flag football,
Baseball,
tournaments.
right.
And so I added that in there. I didn't want to go too crazy on that, but it is in there for several, I think, 20 extra pumps.
But my main concern is, for the $220,000 more in the 20-year run and the bigger upfront cost to build it, roughly 400 upfront difference, right? It's $100,000 per unit to build what we have now, with probably double the amount of development time, given the sewer lines that are going to have to be run, and things like that.
And that's all included in those costs on the plumbed models. So construction cost and everything like that has been included in those figures. And it's a one-time thing. You connect to plumbing, to water, and you're done. It's a flush unit, goes out to the water treatment plant. you know.
But to be clear, these are going to be single toilets, not the double toilets in the
These are
existing
single
parks.
doors.
Right.
Yeah, the double door units were, you know, I think I
Higher
have
volume.
that slide, but they were around 400,000 each, substantially higher.
This is only 450 each, right?
Excuse me?
These are only 450 each.
Yeah,
These are the single or 320, it's at least 400 for the
One,
doubles.
1.4 million divided
You're
by,
talking about
yeah,
capital cost.
so the units on the bottom right there, the two-door units, I mean, amounted
Oh,
up to around 2.7,
For the doubles.
2.8 million for the package of 4.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we, one of our last meetings, we covered that.
Yeah, can you put the chart up on, Amanda, that shows the cost? There you go.
Yeah, there it is, at 2.78.
That's the easiest one to read. The 1520 is a lot harder to read.
Yeah, and those
but-
were the two-door Romtech toilet designs that you see over at Hanson or Cortez.
Yeah, so you can see the,
sorry, I'm looking at the break-even analysis, not the cumulative cost.
go on to the 20-year chart. Keep going.
I think there was one,
There
it is.
you go.
So the maintenance is essentially the same for a standard plumb toilet, given the plumbing and things like that, the plumbing repairs and fixtures that are gonna have to be updated versus something that's a vault or mobile?
So that is a good question. Fixtures in even the portable units, the permanent units, you know, all will need to be changed out over time. Pretty much the same on any toilet. It's really the structure itself that plays into this whole thing too, because even if you look at a mobile luxury unit, you know, those trailers aren't going to last as long, you know. So I figure, you know, those probably have a lifespan of between 10 and 15, given the amount of vandalism and what might happen to them. If you ever look in one of those, it's great for a vandal to go in there and just take it apart. The concrete ones that we have in our parks are pretty bulletproof.
Questions? Green, you're first.
Do you have so we have restrooms already in parks, but those are 2 stalls, right? 2
Yes.
toilets. Do you have, could you give us like an example of an estimate of how much it costs to keep those clean and running and all those things? Because we've had those for a while, so I know it's, you know, 1 compared to 2, but an idea.
An idea of cost or maybe my experience?
Like yes, both.
Well, the cost, I did calculate at about $112,000 per year. My experience with that cost is that they do need additional cleanings every once in a while. We experience vandalism once or twice a week that consists of things being stuffed down the toilets and everything being clogged, fixtures being ripped off the walls, graffiti is very common, and calling out for emergency cleanups once or twice a week. So that doesn't include any of that, because I think any restroom that we get, we're going to experience that level. I don't have that cost tonight. It doesn't double that cost, but I'm sure it's probably a 20% kick, you know.
Can we do like a community adopt a toilet program?
That's another meeting.
Any other comments? Disco? This side? We do have some public comments, so let me take those now. Olden Henson. Olden, come on up. Oh, turn on your mic.
Thought it was always okay. Yeah, Honorable Mayor and Council, thank you for the opportunity to address this. And I want to thank you all for your previous direction on this. I think your staff did one hell of a job in, if I can say hell in public, one hell of a job in the presentation. So it leaves me with little to say, other than we have a group that's been meeting regularly, and most of them are here, and are still here, and hung around. And we looked over all of your options, which again were well done. And we came up with the standard plumbed. We recognize that you have 4 parks to deal with. As a brand-new city, it's difficult to finance some of these needs. So we have to give a little. While we'd like all of the luxurious self-cleaning, that's not gonna happen. And we recognize that. So we, again, would recommend the council look at the standard plumbed and the 1 door. And the infrastructure at Wickland, which is where I live directly across from Wickland School, and a stone's throw from the park, so it is heavily used. I will probably walk around it when I get home tonight because it's very safe. And it looks like the infrastructure is still in place. There's water, and it looks like a sewer line that connects there, that is there. And I looked at the safety features as well. There's a camera right above, you're right. Thank you, Councilmember Green. Well, it may not be a real camera, but at any rate, it looks like the infrastructure is there, and your consideration and your direction on February earlier this year has led to this. And I know I'm not the only one who's going to speak, but my recommendation would be that standard plumbed. And related to Councilmember Green's comment, we thought about sponsorships, and I think that's a way to go. And I know you have an item on the agenda tonight that addresses, you're going to set some rules and things in place for that sort of thing. So we'll be looking forward to that. So we're not adverse to going out and making sure that we have some kind of participation. So again, thank you for your consideration. And thank you, staff, for a wonderful report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Sadhu. Nav Sadhu, come on up. Is it Navjot?
Navjot, yeah. Thank you for giving me opportunity. I'm a resident of Wickland since 2008. I actually wrote about this topic to Board of Directors in the past couple of times. It's just because I live close to the park. I know we kind of moved past the need for it. We established that. Looks like we're looking at the option, but I just still want to say, right? So my kids went to a Little League, right, Wickland Park. So in the past, at one point, we didn't have the portables. Now they do. My son played in flag football in Bethany several times, and they practiced in Wickland. So that was the biggest need for us and a lot of families around us, right? So middle of the practice, we have to take the kids back to the house, right? And then take them back. Soccer, right? So my daughter was in soccer, West Coast soccer, same thing in Wickland. And now I go there, my older kids are a little bit older, so we do walk around, and after dinner, and we go, again, someone said that it's very safe and pleasant. But sometimes, we have to cut short and then come back. So there's a need, and we go to Hanson, that's not too far from my house. Great park, they have a restroom, so we can spend more time there. So there's definitely a need. Just looking at the options, right? So I also would say, let's go with the standard restroom, I believe that was called, plumbed. Nobody wants to go to the vaulted, as Councilmember Disco said, right? We have experienced that in the camping, the areas and all that, right? the first one, then the enclosure, right, it's just still a portable, right? We have one in Vickland right now. It smells so bad sometime, I'm sure it gets clean. I haven't seen it topple, I've seen those things topple in other places. They're eyesore, right? Having a standard one can, make it standard, the uniformity looks same as other neighborhoods. Again, I just wanted to support going with the standard one with the plumbing that we can flush. And yeah, I would also say, Councilmember Green said about adopting a restroom. Yeah, I mean, community is ready to do something like that, right? Participate. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Barwaj? Come on up. Rakesh?
Good evening, Mayor and Vice Mayor and Council members. I want to begin by saying thank to Doug Louie for the beautiful presentation. It really helped us a lot to understand the whole concept. Under a key milestone, I mean, as this very topic has been discussed in 2014, 2017, 2020, and 2025. So that sort of, I want to humbly say, it reflects the need of a long-awaited solution on this basic necessity in a park environment. So hopefully we will have a solution today. And as far as cost is concerned, we look at all the options, and standard toilet and portable were the bottom two. And let's be honest, portable toilets, they don't meet the aesthetic of this beautiful city, so that shouldn't be an option in my opinion. But I would focus on the need. I've been a regular walker. We always play soccer over there, volleyball, other games. We have a hiking group. Every year we do a potluck in that Vickland gazebo. So we have seen over and over again the need of a restroom in that area. And I have literally seen parents picking up their kids, toddlers, running out of the park, leaving their strollers behind because kid needs to use the restroom. And coincidentally enough, trust me on this, when I was driving today by the park, there was this mother with two kids, and she was walking towards the park. The son goes, "Mama, I need to use toilet." She said, "Didn't I ask you at home when we were 2 minutes ago? I'm not gonna go back home, drive you back home." And this is exactly what the kid said. Why don't they have a restroom here? And in my mind, I was like, okay, we are going there. We hopefully will have a solution, and it'll be there in the near future. So it's a necessity, as we all know. It's a need, not a want or wish. So I really believe that you guys can make a decision on this. Budget is always a concern, as I understand. And let's say if partially the budget is there for, let's say, 2, not 4, then being a Vickland resident, I would say consider Vickland's seniority, because Vickland is the first one who welcomed first resident in Mountain House. So I would stress on that to keep Vickland's seniority on that. With that, I want to thank you all the time. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, last but not least, Mr. Graywall.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for your time. And coming back to everything what mentioned, I've been in Vickland since 2011, and same thing with our kids, flag football and everything going through. And I think, like he just mentioned, about Bethany already has one, right? So when it comes to the budget, it shouldn't be, like, I'm not talking about like considering not taking Bethany or whatever, but Vickland, Vickland doesn't have it, right? And like you said, it's a first village, and we've been there over 14, 15 years. Kids been growing up, and it happens to not just kids, these adults, when they're walking in the evening, they have to use the restroom, rushing to somebody's house. If we have that, like you suggested, community toilet and something like that, someone lives close by. But at the same time, I think it's more like a necessity, right? And I think considering the different options, like you mentioned, like I think the standard plumbing is more environment friendly, right? And according to the standards with Mountain House being a newer city, I think that fits better than doing something portable, which we already have, or something with a vault or anything like camping and stuff. So I won't repeat the same things they mentioned, but I think whatever the council decides, I think a standard living is what we need. So thank you again for your time.
Thank you.
Any other public comments?
Don't they
Yeah.
have a bathroom?
Yeah, thank you for considering and the study on those. Actually, my suggestion here is like ROI based. Basically, we're thinking about the cost, right? So in Sunnyvale, we used to have, in every park used to have about close to, depends, like some parks have 70 people, some parks have 100 people, rooms, basically, which we can rent. I would say we can easily collect based on the home-based, tuitions and, events going on in the Mountain House. We can easily get about 4,000 to 8,000 ROI, rent per month. If we extend, anyway, we are constructing the restrooms. If we extend restrooms plus a room. So I think going forward, we should do in every park, we should plan for that. So if you want to study, look at into the Sunnyvale city, what their revenue model is. So that helps us as well. So in every park, we have a facility, a rental facility. So we are constructing the restrooms, right, Mayor? I see a blank face from you.
It's not a blank face.
What?
You want to build a bathroom and a
A
building
room,
next
yeah,
to it that
if
we
it's
can
like,
rent.
look at the cost of the room, yes. It's 60 people, 70 people. So because daily basis, yes, the people will take the rental for tuitions as well as for the parties in the weekends. That's what happens in Sunnyvale. So just go and study. Maybe other cities also might have, but I have observed in Sunnyvale.
Are you saying build a room that 60 or 70 people can be in?
Depends, yeah. How much the cost it is, and then versus the rental revenue we get. What? I'm saying like do comparison of the Sunnyvale city, work with, I can collect the information from Sunnyvale, yes.
Well, there's not officially like space in all the parks for another building. So I don't know that we can just plop a building anywhere in the park.
What the building is like, just a facility.
Point of order, could we stay on the topic, please?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for
All
your
right,
comment.
thank you.
We'll consider it.
Thanks, bye.
All right. This is a discussion item, so there's not going to be official action, but anybody want to make a comment about direction? Harrison? Tingle? Tingle is first. Tingle lit up first.
I'm going to say again, Mr. Louis, thank you for putting together all of this. I'm glad that the city has come out and given some direction on that as far as what facade or what building they want, a standard, because with me, it's the will of what the community wants, because this is about service. I would like, if you could put the standard up there so you can get a good visual of what the standard looks like, because that seems to be the consensus, so everyone seems to be on the same page. I do want to make the comment that it's 4 villages that need the facility, and then when this came up, I think it was probably about 4 or 5 years ago, and I'm glad we're addressing it now, because we are growing. We've addressed it for all the new villages, but there are the 4 villages that early on, you do better when you know better. But as far as the order of, and I'm saying this not because I live in Wickland, I go to my own toilet at home, but nonetheless, I think that whatever we decide on, if it's by progression, I believe it should be the oldest village first, and you do it in progression, because the census that people have been in the older villages have been waiting longer. But if you have it up there, what it looks like, so
Half of it.
Half of it.
Half of it. Chop it in half.
Oh, yeah, just one, right. I know it's just one, because that's all that is probably merit is one toilet. So that's what the general consensus is for the standard toilet, but just one. And everyone's happy with that.
Harrison, comment or
I'm
direction?
okay with that, too.
Comment, is it one for each, like one woman and one man?
No,
Or just one?
one unisex.
Okay,
Just like at home, one.
okay.
Men and women.
I don't know who was first. Disco, you want to go next?
Did we plan for AI robots to clean these after 10 years?
The what?
AI robots to come in and clean these things?
Green, please.
I have a question. So I know we have, well, first of all, clarification, we do not have a bathroom already in Bethany. But
Well, we do in Bethany in the Creek Park.
in the Creek Park,
Yeah,
but not in
the
Bethany
regular
Park.
Yeah.
Right, no, that,
So
like,
it is in Bethany. He's right.
it's in Bethany, but it's
He's
not
right, it
at
is in
Bethany.
Yeah, not at the park.
Right.
That's going to be an issue going forward because where do you put it in the park? Different sports are in different areas.
Well,
That's, yeah, I know.
I got a couple of questions.
There's a nice shed that could be replaced in one
So-
corner.
So, and I agree, Wickland should be first to get the bathrooms. I agree with that. My question is, the bathrooms that we already have, are they locked at a particular time?
Yes,
What time would that be?
usually at dusk,
At dusk?
at night.
That's pretty early, in the fall. No, I'm just saying, it needs to be because safety concerns, I get that, I just wanted to
Things happen.
understand, but so if there is an event that's later than dusk, and someone rents, let's say they rent the gazebo at the park, and it goes past dusk, and they need the restroom services, is there an option for them to be able to use those restrooms
Yeah, right now.
even afterwards? So we
We,
would,
we manually lock and unlock the restrooms every day, so that could be arranged. Yes.
okay, just wanted to make sure, because they were saying they have events and stuff also, which sometimes if the bathrooms are already locked, that would cause a issue. So timing is important.
Okay, any other comments or directions?
Direction, I think we should direct staff to look at going forward with the current bathroom and Wickland having a ribbon cutting for theirs since they want, we don't need a ribbon cutting in Cuesta, but Wickland will have a ribbon cutting for their.
Ribbon.
Actually, I want to give different direction. I want staff to bring back a plan to construct all four at the same time. There's no need for the other villages to wait 2, 3, 4 more years. Then we'll cut the ribbon all simultaneously. But yeah, obviously the standard bathroom. So just for historical purposes, for those of you who haven't been here since 2008, this has come up. But back in 08, 09, 10, when our budget was $5 million, a $1.3 million hit for those bathrooms, we didn't have the money. But now we're a city, we're bigger, we have a lot more people, we can absorb this in the budget, but that's why we kind of pushed it down the road for a few years. And we always talk, and your analysis you never did a 20-year analysis. It was always upfront. Well, upfront, the porta potties are cheaper. Building 4 bathrooms was always, it was actually more expensive the last time you presented. So now it's cheaper. But yeah, it was like, it's gone down a little bit.
It's the comparison between a 2-door unit and one.
Oh, yeah, maybe that's why. But yeah, now 1.2 million is something we could probably carve out of our, what's that fund called, the construction? CIP, yeah. Yeah. You have a question now?
I do have another question. So with it only being a single, will there be a toilet and a urinal?
It would
Because
be-
that's.
From what I see, it would be one toilet. Not.
We don't need 2 people in there at the
You
same
know-
time.
No, it's not for 2 people there in the
It
same
could-
time. It's just,
I could take-
there's a difference between men and women.
I could take direction
And
tonight.
aim, so I
and
think-
Explore that option.
Cleanliness.
Sure.
It would
is
work
also-
to have 2, I've been in bathrooms where it's one bathroom, but they have a urinal and a toilet.
I get where you're coming from.
Thank you.
All right, so come back with options to move forward for all 4 permanent bathrooms.
Okay, I will return and also survey locations at each park.
That's a
cost
different
options,
issue,
of course, and the style of restroom.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you. And we don't need to sell the sponsorship of the bathrooms.
Why not?
We don't need to.
Andy Sue Legacy Fund would like to help forecast.
Yeah, I don't want my name on a bathroom. All right, so we addressed 9.4 first. Now we're going to go back to 9.1. Development of a formal policy for Parks and Rec Department to guide the solicitation, acceptance, and recognition of sponsorships, donations, and advertising that support recreational programs, events, services, and maybe porta potties. Kidding.
You say that now. Good evening, Mayor Sue, Vice Mayor Tingle, members of the council. Laura Johnston, Recreation Manager. So tonight, staff is asking for direction from council to develop a formal policy that will guide us in the solicitation, acceptance, and recognition of sponsorships, donations, and advertising. So Parks and Recreation receives inquiries and offers from local businesses and organizations interested in sponsoring our events. Staff sometimes solicit financial and in-kind donations from local businesses, and several businesses have actually inquired about advertising at our events. So several events this past 3 years have been sponsored by local businesses totaling over $20,000, and several events have even received donations from community members totaling over $700. And local businesses have also provided in-kind donations in return for their participation. So event sponsor logos were featured on our marketing materials this past year and had their business names featured prominently on all of our marketing. Event sponsors marketing was displayed at our events, and event sponsors were recognized at our annual council meeting. We also recognize our donors. They provided financial support and supplies. We recognize them at the event, or we provided them a vendor booth. We've gotten in-kind donations where we've allowed them to participate in our events in exchange for their assistance. And we used Mortgage Seth there as an example at our 4th of July parade. So future advertising examples, see there's just examples, activity guides, we could advertise in our displays in the lobby, we could have banners at our events, vendor booths, signage, branding, event programs, tickets, things of that sort. And again, the purpose of the policy is for these funding opportunities can enhance community offerings, reduce reliance on tax-based funding. And currently, because the city lacks a formal policy that helps guide staff, so we believe a formal policy will establish clear and consistent guidelines, ensure contributions support our mission, which is actually fiscal balanced budget while providing diverse recreation. It would be transparent and equitable, and it would foster partnerships and collaborations. And again, a well-defined policy will help staff define the differences between sponsorships, donations, and advertisements. It'll allow us to create transparent materials, establish clear criteria for different funding opportunities, and it'll identify various types of funding opportunities for us. And then finally, a well-defined policy will prevent potential conflicts of interest, ensure we're aligning with the community's values. It'll establish a process for us to approve, allocate, and manage the funds, and it'll provide a transparent framework for us to recognize our donors. And it'll be an easy approval process. All proposals will be reviewed by staff to make sure they're complete and eligible. And again, no commitments or agreements will be made without documentation and authorization. And the city will always have the right to decline, terminate any sponsorship, donation, or advertising agreement. So in summary, the next steps really is for council to provide direction to staff. Then upon direction, we'll draft a policy. We'll bring it back with some samples. We'll present it to council for adoption.
And that concludes my report. If you have any questions.
Any
for me.
questions? Kingo? Harrison? Green? Go ahead, Green.
I'm really excited about this policy coming forward. It's a long time coming, so let's do it.
All right, no other comments or questions? So the direction is you're going to bring back the formal policy at a future meeting so we can vote on it?
I think they're looking for direction. I think she's looking for direction.
I am
from-
looking for direction if there's anything that you want to include or things that you want to suggest.
Oh, you mean different than what you already presented?
If there's anything that's really important to you that you'd like me to include in the sponsorship policy, I'd be happy to look at it and bring it back.
Anybody?
No, I just have a question, is that when do you think we'll be getting the final cut for approval?
Probably by the end of October.
Okay, a couple of months, okay.
We have time.
Mm-hmm. Very good, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mayor.
Just go.
So my only request is that we don't give up title sponsorships if the city's going to fork a majority of the cost or even be the face of the event. If we catch any negative PR over a specific sponsor who now headlines a specific event, obviously rank is probably a lower risk than a private entity that could come in, but I feel like the title should always be the city, and then it should be with support or, you know, special recognition too. But I would hate to see a co-headline with a private entity that happens to catch bad press, and now Digital Fingerprints points at the city as recommending that business, whether it's by a buy-in, sponsorship, whatever. So I feel like that's the only part we need to navigate carefully for risk purposes, is for the PR, kind of pick and choose who we're going to work with, or because anyone can come up with the money, right, to advertise their business to 40, 50. We're going to be at 60,000 people soon. So I don't know if I speak alone on this. That's just one of my forecasts of where this could go wrong, is if we caught anyone else's heat, so to speak.
We'll have very specific criteria. I don't know if you have in your packet, I have a draft general policy. And so there would be specific criteria that would ask for that kind of information before we even approve it. We won't just take the funds just because we want the funds.
Because nothing more to me than any other event in town that gets watered down by more sponsors on the flyer than the information about the event time and time again. And I'm finally selling out with my organizations having to do it because it's a necessary evil to be able to scale out. It's just, as a city, I feel like we should limit it to the amount of sponsors and not just be an advertising back page pamphlet for 5-10 businesses on a city event.
Okay.
Well, we have a little bit of time to give your suggestion to Laura before a future.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, we good?
We're good. All right.
Laura Johnston?
Thank you, Laura, for putting this on paper.
With the extra T?
Did you want me to include bathroom sponsorships in there? Donations, advertising,
Yeah.
title names?
If they donate 300,000, they can name it after themselves. 9.2, public information signage for new development. Jody,
Come on now.
Jody.
All right, good evening again. This will be a quick presentation recommendation. It's a discussion item only regarding public informational signage for new development construction. All right, a little bit of background. At the last City Council meeting, July 23rd, Council asked staff to explore options for public informational signage for active construction sites. Currently, the city has no requirement for this. We do allow signage that's usually related to marketing, but again, this is more for developers' advertisement. We do also have related, but not signage, we do have a current project list and map webpage on our city website. It's actively maintained on a regular basis, and we'll take a quick look-see on where it's located. So if you go under Community Development Department, click on Planning Documents, and you'll see where the yellow arrows pointing, project list and map. It'll take you to a map and a listing of the various sites and what status it's in. All right, so while we do have the website, we understand that there's limitations and it may not reflect what is the interest from the public in terms of what they're seeing actively taking place in construction. All right, so looking at potential content for a sign, rather standard, including the general use type, the approximate size of the construction site, how many acres, how many residential units, what have you, developer contact info, and maybe an optional completion date. Important to note that, it's going to be very general in land use, information only. I do think there might be an underlining concern from residents on what exactly is going in. Like, are we getting a Dutch Brothers? Are we getting a whatever? It's not going to include that level of detail because that's usually not finalized until way further along in the process. So do you want to point that out? So it would help with awareness, but it may not answer the questions that the public may have. All right, so potential considerations. We can require the signage. It'd be really easy to do. We would have developers install it as it relates to grading permits. It would be at their cost to maintain and install. Very easy lift. We could require no signage and just continue to use our webpage, but again, very limited. Combination, we could do both. Use our webpage, make sure it's updated, and also have it link back maybe to the signage. I think city manager teased, but it sounds like a great idea. Maybe there's a QR code. But again, very easy lift. And so at that point, really, again, fiscal impact, no cost to us. And I will turn it back to you guys.
Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Almasi, for the update, and thank you, fellow council members, for putting this on the agenda. I think at the last meeting, I had suggested this because it doesn't, in my mind, and what the public is saying, it doesn't have to be a lot of information, just what's coming, what to expect. And so I would be interested in, if it's going forward from a discussion to an action item, that you could come back with some pricing, or well, you said the developers are going to take care of it, but just basic design of bare minimum information. It doesn't have to give a lot of details, just whether it's going to be future homes, a store, so the public would know. I do like the idea that everything is online, but when people are driving by and looking at something and wonder what's going to be where there's soil turning, they're not looking to go online and look for what it is. So it's just quick information that I think would stop a lot of calls to council, and also a lot of calls to the city as to what's going in what particular area. So I'm glad that we may be moving forward on this.
Any other direction, Harrison?
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. I think it would be wise, though, to have that signage towards the end, okay? So that way we don't have a sign like Safeway's coming soon, and it's been there for 11 years, and then finally we get a Safeway. Or there's an Indian market, that sign's been up there for a couple of years now, and I think they're going through rezoning and stuff. So, you know what I meant? Sometimes that kind of works against us too, because then people are like, you said this has been coming for years now. I like the fact that you were saying that towards the end is where, it would be put up. Does that make sense, or?
We can work with whatever your direction is.
Mayor.
Disco.
But if we put the developer's contact info on there, then maybe those constant calls will push them to actually build that market. But I feel like that is a little excessive, though, is requiring them to put their name, phone, and email. As a developer, I would not be excited to put up this sign, but everything else looks great. So I don't know if putting the contact, and maybe the developers business, but I don't think listing their phone and email on a public billboard is necessary.
Like private cell phone? Right. So what's the official direction that we want? Make the developers put on some generic sign, something is coming?
Just general use, approximate size, and completion date, right?
Some businesses are coming, maybe?
Retail coming soon.
11 units of
Coming
retail at
one day,
Wickland,
coming
6
real
units at
soon.
Hanson.
I'm sure the developers are so happy to do this.
Future sight
Ecstatic.
of whatever it is going to be. It could be very simple, and I do agree, and I think I did state it, when dirt starts moving and the ground gets leveled off, you know, not on.
20 years
No,
before.
yeah, when something's getting ready to get started, and that's when people normally ask questions when the earth is moving, with just vacant space and grass there, you don't get any calls. You get calls when dirt starts moving.
That's why, yeah, so it's perfect if we tie it with the grading permit, because
Yes.
that's when it's real,
Yes.
semi-real.
All right, so what's the official direction again? The developers have to put up signs when dirt is moving? Something
We
like that?
can require developers to put up signs with the issuance of a grading permit.
There's some sign
With
that,
general information.
We
Yeah.
could put
General
this, if that is
information.
the direction from city council, we don't necessarily need to take this back for your approval. This is something under our authority that we can just implement.
tell them to do it.
Okay.
All right.
On another note, at what point are we going to limit the amount of advertising signs that can keep popping up every single corner of this
Point
town?
of order.
We're working on a sign ordinance right now.
We are.
You're out of control. I don't have a sign. You're not talking without permission. All right. 9.5, city manager update. As requested earlier, Steve, you have unlimited time.
You skipped
Talk as long as you want,
You skipped-
because I'm sure, huh?
You skipped 9.3.
That's what I said, 9.5. What did I say, 10.5?
No, you skipped an item.
9.3.
There's another one?
Yes.
9.3. Oh, you know what? It's 10 o'clock. We can't start a new item. No, go ahead. 9.3. John Baker.
Yeah, I am John Bacher.
Yeah.
I'm the city attorney, and I will be giving a quick presentation on the response to the grand jury report. Next slide, please. The recommendation is to just discuss the proposed letter that's in your packet and give us any direction you have, and we'll bring back the final version of the letter for approval at your August 27th meeting. I'm going to talk a little bit about the grand jury process. So you understand what we're dealing with here. I could talk about the civil grand jury system going back to the dawn of time. I'm not going to do that, but it has been in California since the 1850s, and it's sort of a mechanism they act as a watchdog on local government, basically. So they investigate and report on the functions of various government offices, including the city. They had authority over the district as well previously. I'm not sure if there were any reports about the CSD in its history. This particular report is about the city specifically. The grand jury is required to transmit their report when they're done with it to any affected agency. So that's why the city received the report from the grand jury. The governing body of the agency that receives the report is then required to provide a response within 90 days. You all probably know that grand jury proceedings are secret, so that is generally the case if you get interviewed by a grand jury or you testify in front of a grand jury, it's secret. That's the case with criminal grand juries and also civil grand juries. But the grand jury report, once it's been issued to the city, is public, and similarly, the city's response is public. We're acting on this response and asking the body to, or the governing board, the city council, to review it in public, because that's really the only way you can act. Next slide, please. So we got you all received copies of the grand jury's report by mail. The report's titled Eyes on San Joaquin County Growth, City of Mountain House, San Joaquin County's newest city. Obviously, it's also the state's newest city. The report contains 6 findings and 7 recommendations to you. Although they were sent to the city council members individually, only the city council is mandated by statute to respond. So the draft that we produced is set up to be approved by the council and then signed by all of the council members, so that we're kind of meeting the mandate of the statute and also providing an opportunity for you all to respond individually as well. Can you go back? So, as I said earlier, council feedback from tonight will be used to incorporate in the final version of the revised letter, and then we'll bring it back to you at the August 27th meeting. Next slide, please. So there were 3 basic things that, as I said earlier, there were 5 findings, 6 recommendations. The basic focus of all those findings and recommendations were, 1, the lack of transit options in Mountain House. 2, ensuring that the city council is keeping an eye on planning for infrastructure to support growth, specifically schools, public safety and public works, and finally, economic development. So with regard to your duties, your legal duties, the statutory requirements, with regard to findings, you have to either agree or disagree with them wholly or partially. If you disagree, you are required to provide an explanation for why you disagree. With regard to recommendations, you're required to indicate whether the recommendation has been implemented and provide a summary of how you've implemented it. You can choose to indicate it has not yet been implemented, but it will be, and explain what the time frame for that is. You can indicate that it will require further analysis and indicate what that will look like. And then finally, you can indicate that it will not be implemented because it's not warranted and not reasonable, and you have to explain why. So these are the basic responses and findings and rationale that we've offered in the letters. The first 2 findings relate to the lack of local transit options. Staff proposes a response to just say partial disagreement, and indicate to the grand jury that the finding overlooks significant changes in workforce patterns and also overlooks the fact that the city has been heavily engaged in the last year in local and regional advocacy for additional transportation funding. With regard to we also recognize in the response that there is a need for improved transit. The next finding, F3, is that the city, the incorporation has resulted in the city receiving additional revenues and the ability to make local land use decisions. We obviously agree with that one, so that's the response there. F4 deals with schools and population growth presenting opportunities and challenges. We have a partial disagreement with that or we suggest a partial disagreement with that one because it does not recognize the proactive planning for future infrastructure capacity needs taken as part of the original formation of the community with the master plan. So that's always something that's been on the mind of this community. F5 deals with continuing to pursue retail and commercial opportunities. We agree with that one. F6 deals with continuing to promote economic growth to increase employment opportunities within the city's boundaries. Again, we agree. On to the recommendations. These recommendations are all required to be implemented by October 1st, 2025. So you see the dots in front of each one of them. Just remember that's October 1st, 2025. The first one has to do with pursuing partnerships to advance transportation projects. Our indication is that that one's been implemented. We've been working on partnerships with the various regional bodies, the state, and the federal government. The R2 suggests partnering with Tracy and other entities to improve connectivity. We indicate there that that requires further analysis, noting in our explanation that we're currently assessing unmet transit needs and evaluating traffic impacts of projects like the roundabouts in Alameda County. R3, the city council should continue to evaluate law enforcement and public safety staffing needs along with infrastructure requirements as the city's population increases. On that one, we indicate that it's been implemented and that we're continuing, because the focus of that recommendation is on continuing to do that. We are continuing to do that, so we indicated how and why in the response. The next few deal with the schools, and they indicate that in various places that the city council should address school issues. Our basic response on these is we will not be implementing those because we don't have jurisdiction over the schools. Some of those are, R5 is actually directed at the school district and the city council. I'm not sure if the school district's going to be responded, but that's up to them. Next slide, please. And then finally, the last one is that the city should prioritize retail and commercial development to increase tax revenues and create employment opportunities within the city limits. Again, this one's been implemented. That's our explanation is that it's already a high priority item and we're working on developing economic development strategy as part of the city's strategic plan. And with that, we're back to you with the recommendation, which is to discuss and provide feedback on the draft letter, and we will return with the final version at the next meeting.
Thank you. Anybody want to make a comment, Harrison?
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. We have to send it back to the presiding judge within 60 days? Is that what it calls for?
I think the statute says 90 days. The response is due on September 1st.
Okay, so it is okay. Yeah.
September 1st is when we have to provide the response. The recommendations directed us to complete all those things by October 1st.
We got it, what, June 27th?
Right.
Yeah, we got it on June 27th.
City Attorney, what I would like is, they violated Penal Code 933.05F, okay, which requires grand juries to provide effective agencies with a copy relevant to reports 2 working days prior to releasing it to the public. They failed to do that. We got it 5, the city got it 5 days afterwards. So they're in violation of that penal code. I would like that to be presented in the report to the presiding judge, because he's overall responsible. The presiding judge gets the report from the grand jury, he approves it, and then sends it out. So it's on him.
We could explain that in the letter. So you believe we didn't receive the mailed version before it was released to the public, and we can certainly indicate that in the. If that's true, we will indicate that in the letter.
Yeah, because the legal challenge behind it is we could challenge the validity of the whole report due to their procedural flaw, which was given it to us. But there's really nothing in here that's really, but I just want the presiding judge to know that, hey, it's on him or her, and they failed to do that, okay? I mean, so you're going to, because they'll hold you in contempt. They can if you don't provide it, but yet, you know what, hey, do your homework, do your due diligence, and get us the report 2 days prior, which the law requires. So that's what I'm asking, that be added into the report, that they did violate that penal code by not sending it to us 2 days prior to sending out to the public, please.
Any other comments? Disco.
Do we have anything to actually back up R2 documented?
Let's see, R2. I think we have backup on everything. R2 is, so we are actively in the midst of doing, I believe it's a federal requirement, Jody, assessing unmet transit needs. So every jurisdiction is required to do that. Brand new city, right? So we kicked off that process, and we're intending to be done with it before the end of the fiscal year, is my understanding.
Thank you.
And we are also actively working with all the other jurisdictions around here on transit issues, including Valley Link.
Because Valley Link is out in the open now, and it's raising a lot of questions to what our alternative will be for all these people who were sold on this.
We are exploring all options. We are looking to further and strengthen our partnership with ACE as well. We're actively talking to City of Tracy, RTD, all of the players out there, because guess what? We're all competing for the same funds. So we're all trying to work together regionally.
Thank you.
Green? Oh, you're, okay. So you need direction for item 9.3?
Ship it.
Write the letter for us?
Yeah, so we'll bring back the letter at the next meeting. There was a request from a council member to include the language about whether the grand jury complied with their duties. Unless there's any objection from the council, we'll include that in the letter if we can establish that as a fact. And
Is it necessary, though, to?
it's not necessary. So if the council doesn't want us to include it, we don't have to. I mean, as the council member also indicated, there's nothing in this report that says you've all done anything wrong, and we're just responding as required by law. So
Yeah.
you don't really have to do that.
Do we really want to poke the bear?
I'm
don't think so.
definitely not a big fan of poking this bear.
Good to do that.
My argument is, with that is, if we don't turn it in, you could be in contempt.
We're in contempt?
Yes, if we don't turn it in on time. So it's like, hey, if you're asking us to abide by yours, make sure that you abide by it's a penal code. It's an actually law that requires them to send it to us, take 2 days prior to the public being notified, and they didn't do that. They did it 5 days afterwards. And whether it's not the grand jury, it's the presiding judge that's the one responsible for that.
Yeah, but if we're going to turn it in on time, then
Yeah, it's a moot point.
I don't know. I don't need the grand jury. Well, I personally don't want the grand jury coming after us for any stupid, thing.
I'd like to make a
Comment.
comment on that, too. Councilman Harrison, thank you for your due diligence. However, we're not behind the 8 ball on turning it in on time. And like the mayor said, I wouldn't want to, behind 2 days, I wouldn't want to, when you're turning in something on time, I'll use the phrase poke the bear and go to the grand jury and said, you didn't do us, you didn't give us the letter in time. All the letters were dated June the 20th. Of course, they came in here, they didn't go to everyone's personal address. So to me, I don't know whether the 2 days is really a point. I would like for us to get it in on time and don't mess with the grand jury. Do not poke the bear, don't upset them. Let's just do our part to make sure that we turn things in that is accurate to the best of our ability with the knowledge and information we have on hand.
We're gonna turn it in on time. That's not, I just want that noted. If not, then I'm not signing it.
Can we turn it in 5 days early to make a
I'll
point?
individually write it then.
Do you need everybody to sign?
No, Mr. Mayor. The official response is on behalf of the city council as a body.
Can we send our message by delivering it 5 days early?
We can't, because we're not
We
going to.
could, well, if you approve the letter in its current form tonight, I suppose you could. But we're bringing it back on August 27th. We'll send it out the day after.
It won't be 5 days early. You can't send it at 10 o'clock at night. Okay, so the direction is update the letter and bring it back on the 27th for us to vote on?
Correct, we'll bring
All
it
right.
back.
Thank you so much, John. Now, Steve, you have unlimited time, because I'm sure all your staff want to sit here and listen to you. Unlimited.
I got my stopwatch on here, 10:18. So again, you can go to our website to see our follow-ups on some of the questions from the previous meetings, and we'll be adding those this evening as well. Next slide. Have a lot of, you should be jumping across the bridge to see all the civil work that's going on. The roads continue to expand north of Byron. What's
Wait,
that?
did you skip the responses to the residents?
We just said that there's the QR code, and we have followed up on what residents have asked about, and for example, on the cell coverage person, we have had discussions with that person.
So
And-
where are we putting the cell tower?
Well, we've got an RFP out right now for communications towers at both fire stations right now. So we're looking at opportunities for co-location at those locations. So that's something we were already considering looking at. We just want to make sure this is something that works better for the community and not for the cell tower companies. So that's something we are working on.
Okay.
And we are coordinating with the Mosquito Abatement District on West Nile virus community updates. And then were we going to talk later about the community meeting discussion, Amanda, at the end? Yes. And one of these we'll be talking about more. We talked about coming soon earlier tonight, and we already talked about we'll be talking later about the commission discussion. And then we just wanted to show you the roundabouts taking shape up there north of Byron, and that we do have progress on some of these commercial projects. On Mustang Square, we've gotten confirmation that it is Chipotle, Domino's, Arco, obviously, Nectar, and, geez, I had these all memorized 20 minutes ago. Nectar, Wingstop, that's one I always forget, and then in Small Indian Market as well are the confirmed tenants. And I think they're very close to confirmation across the street. One of the things that's held up across the street from Mustang Square were the multiple ownerships, and each ownership wanted their own curb cuts and things like that, and we're like, no, you have to plan it as one center. And I think they're very close now to having the ownership structure where it's going to be one ownership, not two, so the delays we're getting from the multiple owners will go away. And it looks like besides McDonald's, they now have Circle K confirmed, along with the owner of the Indian Market on Tracy Boulevard as part of the group as well. McDonald's, yes.
Another Indian Market across the street from an Indian Market?
Well, it's a smaller market on the north side, but we're looking at a larger market potentially on the south side of the street there. There's a smaller, I've got the name in email somewhere, but I can get it to you. Okay. And McDonald's has a letter of interest in the south side of the street there as well.
Letter of interest, that doesn't
Well,
sound...
no, it's fairly serious, but for McDonald's, that means something when they have a letter signed with them.
How many more years? Do you have a
And there's a car wash on the north side as part of Mustang Square as well.
We have a question over here.
So is there going to be 2 restaurant spots available, or the restaurant spots have already been taken?
I believe there's still one more restaurant available in that larger building at the corner that they have not announced a tenant on yet. But I've got to confirm that. All I know for sure is I haven't seen yet their exact plot plan for how much Nectar's taking, how much Wingstop's taking, how much the Market's taking. I'm not sure there's any more available space at this point.
Okay.
And it's not clear to me which building that Domino's is going into either. But
And Jody?
and remember, this is something that we're still coordinating with this is an old county project, so we don't have as much information, unless Jody got some more today.
No, I mean, this might just be a mute question, but you did mention Dutch Brothers. So is that an option, or Starbucks is for sure?
That's right,
for
Starbucks
sure?
is for sure.
Starbucks for sure. It's just, it's
She
a
was
topic
wishful
that's come
thinking
up to
earlier.
me in wishful thinking.
Is that something, though, that we could, let's say Dutch Brothers wanted to come maybe on the other side or whatever, there's not a conflict or a certain mileage that they have to have away from each other, or does it really matter?
We usually don't get involved in that, but yes, they usually do have some kind of feasibility studies that plays into that. But
That
we
says
have-
you can't have another coffee shop within,
Well, typically the shopping center we'll have a restriction like that because Starbucks doesn't want to move into a
Right.
shopping center and then have Dutch Brothers move in because that'll eat into their profits.
In the same
Yeah, so
complex.
you'll see that in the
Yeah.
shopping center leases.
And
I'm sure it is.
typically, you're going to see a Dutch Brothers or a Starbucks on the way to work side of the street. And so Mustang Square is on the way to work side of the street. So
Yeah.
they're far less likely to be going on the go home side of the street.
That's the McDonald's side,
Yes, the McDonald's side.
Yes, yes.
chicken nugget side.
But
Okay,
again,
good.
and we've talked to Amanda about, we're going to be doing some more communication about helping folks understand that while we do everything we can to help facilitate projects, it's ultimately the property owner's decision and the retailer's decision where they're going to go.
Yeah.
And we don't have any yet confirmed tenants that we've received, and I think this is the last of the county plan checks for the Hanson Shopping Center. So we don't have any detail yet on what's confirmed for the Hanson Center, unless Suresh has something we don't know about on that, but.
There's an Indian grocery store in Hanson. You're saying there's one in Hanson?
Do we offer, does the city offer any incentives for
No.
businesses coming in?
That'll be part of the, when we bring back the economic development strategy, those are discussions we can have and give you the pros and cons on those types of things.
Okay.
Trying to see if there's any other, I think the other key infrastructure issue we're dealing with right now that's been quite laborious is working on, oh, did you move back a slide or up a slide? Oh, just wanted to mention that the railroad crossing progress has slowed. We're having good dialogue, but there's a very large legal process that we and the developer have to go through with an administrative law judge to finalize the at-grade crossings at Mountain House Parkway and Great Valley Parkway and the railroad tracks. We were really hoping for maybe January to start, but I think it's more realistic now. If we can keep the rest of this process going, it's more likely that those grade separation or crossings would start next summer at this point, but we'll keep you in the loop on that. We've got another on-site meeting, right, with the administrative law judge and the Public Utilities Commission in September, as they want to come out and look at the site and figure all that out. And then we at the staff level and the developer have a lot of work to do because obviously when we have to close Henderson, we've got to extend Bethany over to Mountain House Parkway. So all that has to be coordinated as well. But a lot of work going on at the staff and developer level on that right now. A lot of discussion still going on the Byron Road rehabilitation, which is, as you know, a major, major project because doing rehab on a very heavily trafficked road is going to require a lot of logistical. It's not just a matter of going out there and paving that. You have to figure out what to do with the cars in the meantime. So that's something we'll update you on as we get closer to that point for Byron Highway. And this is kind of more of a behind the scenes, but all the water in town, everything has to drain either to our detention, the west side of town drains to the basin at the corner of Grant Line Road and Central Parkway. Everything on the east side of Central Parkway will be draining into a detention basin just north of Byron, right next to just east of the bridge. And now that we were able to we didn't need that till now, but now we're pushing and hopefully they'll start by the end of the year on that second. You know, it's not the things you think about, but making sure you have a place for everything to drain is very important. And so the timing is now for getting that done. So that's another one of those things staff is spending a lot of time behind the scenes on. All right, now you can go to the next slide. And VITA has folks moved in, but they've still got a lot of buildings left to go. There's a heck of a lot of underground work going on down in the A and B neighborhoods at this point in time. Over in Hanson and Cordis, the last two phases of Langston are just wrapping up. And then up north, a lot of utilities and grading still going on. A lot more work happening right now in Neighborhood J has pretty much got all the utilities in place, so now there's a lot of work going on way up in the corner in Neighborhood I. We're looking at our first public meeting for the general plan. Remember, you approved that contract recently. We're looking at late September, early October for that, and trying to update the development code one more time. And once every 5 years, like every city has to update what's called their municipal services review, which is where you define, here's all the utilities that can cover all of our anticipated development. We'd already gone through that with the incorporation, so it wasn't a real difficult process to update what's called our MSR, or Municipal Services Review. Utility billing, Sarah's still here if you have any questions. The good news is we think we've solved the issue with the e-bills, where you were able to get your bill but not your statement online, and we think that's resolved at this point in time. And I think that was the main issue that we had. And we're also spending a lot of time with folks who I think are still a little confused with the fact that because we missed one billing during this transition, there's been, Sarah won't say this, but I can tell you just from wandering around down there, when Inframark handed everything over to us, there was a lot of little missing pieces that have needed to be connected to make sure that everything worked when all the files were transferred over. So if folks are wondering why you have this 33-day billing and that you're only paying for May right now, it's because a big part of the transition has been trying to make sure everything is accurate, and so that created some delays in the billing. But we're continuing to get better and better on that, but I'm sure we'll continue to have inquiries, but we've tried to put out as much information as possible. As you know, Amanda's done a video. She's done some explanations on the why there's the 33-day billing month instead of the 30. And we'll just continue to do as much communicating as we can. Long run, we want to get, the other challenge we've had, of course, is that I've dealt with this in every city, but it's amazing that as our computer technology gets more and more advanced, our phone technology seems to go backwards. And frankly, that's literally when you're upgrading your phone system. The problem with the phone company is they've got all the new phones and you've got all the old phone lines. So when you go on those big giant buildings, in the old days that dealt with all the phone lines, they're just winging it these days, trying to figure out how they continue to deal with phones, because you've got this digital analog connection. And because it's so difficult to upgrade your phone systems because of that, we wanted to get all of our billing straightened out first. But we know that we're going to need to have a much better phone system as well. But I think it would have been we would have been asking for an unmitigated disaster if we were trying to introduce a new phone system at the exact same time we're also introducing a new billing system as well.
Are we using VoIP protocol for phones, or because the fire station specifically is what raises a question, because I don't know how many times I've called the fire station line and it's been busy, and that's a terrible tone to hear when you're trying to reach the fire department without going through a 5-minute delay dispatcher.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's one of the, like I said, there's a lot of phone updates. I've been wanting to do that since I got here, and it's on the list, and particularly for the utility billing, for emergency services, is there something we're working on. Everything needs to go to VoIP, but that is not bulletproof in its solutions, because you're still building all this new technology into an old system. And so you have to be really careful when you do these phone upgrades, because we want to be able to have a phone system that never goes to a busy signal. But we're not there yet. But we would rather have a busy signal than what's happened to me in other places where
Google
it goes
Voice,
to
you can
nothing.
register for free and connect to 20 simultaneous phones simultaneously at the same time with no cost.
It sounds great, but it doesn't always work. And so we want to make sure that we have to have reliability. We need people to be able to call and that we can answer the phone. And so I think it'll get much better once we update our phone system. And so we're doing everything we can, but it's still a human analog process at the end of the day. But we just want to remind the public that, we want to make sure that they get good customer service. And it's difficult now because our staff's having to spend they're having a lot of 20, 25-minute phone calls. So there's only so many phone calls we can return in a day, and we don't have a system yet, a phone tree yet that we're happy with. But we will continue to keep you updated on that. And so other things, we've got, utilities, we don't forget at the same time we were doing all this changing over of the utility billing, we're also doing this, while it's still Inframark, there's also a whole brand new wastewater plant that they're taking on in the process. And there's a water plant that's going to need to be upgraded in the next couple of years. So we're continuing to fly the airplane as we're changing the engines in all these places and doing the best that we can to keep things going. And kudos to our staff. They've been doing a great job with the emergency repairs. We had the manhole issue over on Arturo where our guys got out there quickly, took care of things, and they're looking at a lot of other things they'll be bringing back to you soon. You already heard about the transit planning. You're going to hear more about potential red light enforcement and more about these fire station towers and some of the opportunities that they create as well. And then the dialogue, and I've talked to some of you about this individually, the challenge we have in trying to make sure we really get information out to people. And, obviously transportation's an important one, but so is the general plan, so is code enforcement, so is water supply, and a number of other issues. And so we wanted to figure out a way where we could create kind of a regular routine for people to know that when they want to learn about city services, that we would have these series of meetings during the year. And we think it'd be more effective and efficient than doing council committees or something of that nature, where you have all these additional requirements, you got to appoint people. And we find when you make it a committee, there's a lot of enthusiasm at first and then it wanes, not to mention the fact that a lot of times people feel like, well, I'm not part of the committee, so I'm not going to come to the meeting. So the goal here is to have regular meetings every 6 to 8 weeks, depending on the time of year, where we can have these open forums with the community to go over these subjects. So instead of saying, well, we need to have a general plan meeting, so we've got to figure out when to have the meeting, we can take all these items and say, okay, we'll plug it into the next community meeting, where we'll have one maybe primary subject and then one secondary subject, and we'll put a lot of information out on social media and ask people that if there's specific things you want us to talk about at this forum, please submit it to us ahead of the meeting. And we'll also be creating informational videos out of that meeting that then would be available for people who didn't attend the meeting. But not just, here, go watch this 90-minute video, but here's 1 minute, here's 5-minute summaries, and here's the questions that people were most interested in. Because we're really wanting to do everything we can to get the word out and make it accessible, either showing up or going online. When we see things on social media, we want to have more and more of these prepackaged, where when people ask the same question about what's at that site or this or that on my utility bill, or can I do an accessory dwelling unit, and we will have links that we can put right into the Facebook post saying, here's that information, you can read about it. And we find that most people engage in social media seem to like video more than they like narrative. And so we want to have all those different options out there. So happy to answer any additional questions.
Disco Green.
Does Vita have an elevator permit yet?
A what?
Do we have the elevator permit yet for Vita? Or we have to, I know it's a state. Not that we know of, but again, that's a county inspector. That's still one of the old county.
State.
It's a state issue, but the county is still the main building inspector on that site. So we don't get the every 4-hour update like we do in the newer projects.
And what control do we have in Mustang Square post development for the businesses? The businesses have to register with us?
They have
Is
to have
that
a
how
business license, yeah.
So that's how we're finding out who's
No, they
interested?
just tell us. We just ask
Oh,
them and
okay.
they tell us, so. But yeah,
So
nobody.
the businesses don't have to register with us?
They will, but
They
not
will
ahead of time.
before they open?
Right,
Got it.
correct. We just are staying in constant communication with them because they do have to get utilities. Even on the old county projects, if they want to have water or sewer, which is kind of important, they have to talk to us, so.
The developer or the individual businesses?
It depends. Usually it starts out with the developer, but then depending on the size and scope of the business.
Thanks.
Eventually, they'll have to come in for a building permit one way or another, or I'm sorry, a business license. But we should know most of the time well before then.
Do we have any say over how many certain business types there can be?
No.
Because, I mean, like we have 3 Starbucks. What if they want to bring 4 Starbucks or, something?
We have no control over that.
No control over?
None.
Okay.
Not directly. The only way we could control that is to have some kind of zoning ordinance that restricted the use, but you can't restrict a specific company from having them. We could say no more drive-throughs, or they have to be so many feet apart, but the bottom line is no, we really don't have any control over that. And it's interesting because all these places are changing their models constantly too, so sometimes what happens is they say, well, we want to build our new prototype of how we're doing. In their mind, it's like a whole different location. But they really see Byron Road and Grantline Road are 2 different cities as far as retailers are concerned, almost.
Any other questions? Item 10.1.
Long range calendar.
Do we have to vote to continue the meeting? It's past 10 o'clock.
Yeah, that is city council policy, but we're almost done, right?
I'm just trying to follow policy. I don't want anybody calling me out again.
I say that.
Every time somebody speaks out of turn, I'm going to call you out. Do you want to speak? Mayor, Vice Mayor Tingle?
I say that we have very few items left, that we continue the meeting past the 10 o'clock time frame.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Disco?
Aye.
Councilmember Green?
Aye.
Councilmember Harrison?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Tingle?
Aye.
Mayor Sue?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous.
I guess you may continue.
I will continue. If you can zoom that out a little bit more. So next meeting, we've got my annual performance review and closed session, and then we've got Department of Water Resources coming to give us a presentation, and it's League of Cities time again, so you'll need to designate a voting delegate for the League of Cities. We'll be finalizing that grand jury letter. We're hopefully bringing back our lobbying services at the next meeting for consideration for our basic government relations and lobbying. Hopefully we'll have our aquifer storage project we've been talking about for quite a while coming back, and we can give you a water supply update as part of that at the next meeting. And there's also some filters, carbon replacement we need to do at the water plant. And we have approval now on the French Camp Fire Agreement from French Camp, so that's coming to you now for approval for extension of our contract. And then we wanted to talk a little bit about Go Request. And then just to give you a preview, don't forget that the League Conference is October 8th through 10th. And so we've canceled the meeting on that day, but we also have our September meetings as well. So just to make sure you've got that on your calendar. But another busy meeting on the 27th. And don't forget about our Health and Wellness Expo on September 27th and our second to last concert in the park this weekend.
Is that it?
And then we did have a request, thank you for reminding me, I was about to look down at that. But Councilmember Green would like to change the meeting date of the second meeting in September and put that on the agenda at the next meeting, correct? So at this time, we would normally do a straw poll to see if there is another day that week that would work for the city council. So that's September 25th, correct? Or 24th, I'm sorry.
Could I propose the 25th? I'm not available the day before or the day after that week.
The 25th is the day after, so are you available the 22nd?
I'm available the 25th. I'm not available the day after the 25th or the day before our current scheduled meeting. Sorry, I should reiterate. The 25th is the only day I'm available that week.
That's the COG meeting.
Yeah. The mayor and I are at a COG meeting on the 25th, so we wouldn't be available on the 25th.
Well, I mean, we may make it back by 7, but it's,
I'm available on the 25th if they could negotiate their schedule. And Councilmember Disco, you're available on the 25th? Okay. I could make myself available if you guys can make it back.
Yeah, we should though, huh? If it's.
yeah, if it's 7 o'clock.
We would
If
just
it's at
make,
7,
we just have no closed session that night for sure then, so.
All right, so do we vote on it now, or?
No, we would bring it
back?
back to the
Okay.
next meeting for formal approval. Now we're done with the long range.
What is this? Let me see, what's next? Really? Who wants to speak? Council
night.
comments.
Good night.
Vice Mayor Tingle?
Yes. Two comments. As we go forth and do the final draft for the grand jury, on findings 5 and 6, if there's no more bells and whistles put around the response, I would like to know for my own clarity. It says this, the city of Mountain House agrees it will continue to pursue retail and commercial opportunities. I'd like to know, if you don't put it in writing, I'd like to know before I sign what kinds of things that we're doing, so I'm clear that we're working toward that end. The same thing on 6. And the other comment that I have, that I've had for some time is, the staff works really hard on putting together recommendations, but I still think that as recommendations are going forth on things that we should be voting on, that you guys consider maybe 2 or 3 options that you've considered, and then what you're really recommending. So as a council member and just as a member of the community, I know what kind of thought process you're going through before recommending something.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
Council Member Harrison?
Yeah, with the grand jury report, yeah, I don't want to poke the bear. I just want to massage it, just so they're advised that when it goes back to the presiding judge, that normally we would receive this within 2 days, per that penal code. However, the city didn't get it till 5 days later. It could be massaged. I don't want to attack them. That's not what I just wanted to, so I meant, but that's you guys' job to massage
Mr.
it,
Mayor,
make
we're going to
it-
be bringing that back at the next meeting, so
Okay.
if you all want to talk about it, we can do it then.
Anything else, though? Council Member Green?
Thank you, everybody, and good night.
Wait, that was your comment?
That was my comment. Thank you, and good night.
No, we're not done yet. I am. Disco. You're not done until we're all done.
And I love to talk.
Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
Thank you, Doug and Jody, for the staff report on the restrooms. Thank you, Laura, for coming up with the sponsorship packet, and we look forward to seeing next steps in those. And thank you for everybody else who I'm forgetting, because it's 10:45. And good night.
Wait, so now I can't thank everybody? Thank you, Steve. Thank you, John. And, yeah, let's stay here till midnight. Thanks, everybody, for doing a great job. And, yeah, let's move on to the next item. City Attorney?
Mr. Mayor, I don't have any comments.
Oh, shucks. City Manager, final comments?
No final?
All right, let's adjourn to August 27th meeting at 5:30 because we have a big closed session.
Yeah.
All right, meeting is adjourned.
Whoever was last, 10:48. Let's see who did that. Let me get this one. 10:35. RG. Who's RG? Raquel won again. Raquel won again.
That's managing. But it's not, that won't happen probably because somebody else recommends it.